throughout this whole episode, I'm gonna caress my little guy.
Excuse me?
I'm gonna caress my little guy live on camera.
Why did you say it that way?
It's okay. Shh, 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 shh. Don't worry, Uncle Sheps won't do what he did in the game to you. Don't worry. So the baby must be crying for. Okay, I'll rock him a little bit.
Well,
All right, no problem. I'll do it in the most efficient way possible.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, probably takes 10 rocks to get him to stop crying, so I'll do 10 as fast as possible.
There's a reason why you wasn't further up on the list for taking care of Isla.
Frick!
What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, a podcast hosted by three gamers for you, the true gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my BB, my little guy, and the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. How's it going, bro?
Yeah, it's going good. I just realised there's actual, printing on it and stuff. Like, it says, lock is tight or lock airtight and stuff like that. Like, flip open, toggle to... That's cool, man. I forgot.
Check trans connection.
Yeah, I forgot how cool that BB was.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Anyway, man, how's it going?
Bro, it's going amazingly.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of gaming's been happening in my life. Lots of cool things are happening. We're having Death Stranding's director's cut coming out tomorrow as of this recording. I'm really looking forward to that. I have a super bold prediction for that.
Okay.
Fuck it, I'm just going to say it right now. Yeah. I don't think that this is just going to be a PS5 upgrade game with a few extra missions. I think there's going to be a whole tease to a Death Stranding 2 in the game.
That would be cool.
I think at the end it's just going to be like cutscene and it's going to take over the internet. Be like, blah, that's how it's going to be
like, what?
Blah, it's going to be that's what it's going to be like.
That's a pretty bold prediction.
I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Is anything interesting going on with you?
I'm doing good. I mean, I've also had a bit more time this week to play some games. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, though, what have you been playing? Really, I'm interested in two things. I have two questions for you. How are you finding Kenna? And how are you finding the Master Chief Collection in the OG graphics?
Let's talk about that. Let's get right into talking about gaming. So, yeah, I have been playing... Which one should I start with first?
Kenna, because it's more relevant.
Cool. Kenna, the actual way you're supposed to say it, by the way, if anyone else is listening. Even Kenna herself mispronounced her name in the game.
I don't care how they say it in the game. I'm not saying...
It's unfortunate. It's Kenna, look, either way...
how that made it past the editing phase?
That's the thing. There's two faults here, and you can choose which one it is, right? Either... they're saying the name wrong entirely every single time. Or they've spelt it wrong in all of the artwork and all of the subtitles and everything going up to it.
Yeah.
I can believe it's the second one.
I could believe it was the second one.
Because, do you know what I really think happened? Genuinely, this is what I think what happened.
Yeah,
Ember Labs, small team,
yeah, brand
new company. They went out for investors. They found some rich old white man who doesn't know anything about video games. What video games are talking about? Oh, you need money. Well, how much am I going to get in return? That sort of guy, right?
Yeah.
And they said to him, "It's like we've got a project, and like here it is." And he opens up. First thing he sees is like, Kana Bridge of Spirits.
Oh, no, that's what happened.
And they were like, well, we're not going to fucking correct him. The guy's giving us millions of dollars. Yes, it's Kana Bridge of Spirits.
I think that's what happened.
The patent's already been signed. So
That's what happened.
All of you idiots that keep coming up to me on Twitter and going, Eddie, it's Kana Bridge of Spirits. Kana Bridge of Spirits. You're now one of those idiots, okay?
Losers.
However, I am really enjoying this game. We were super worried on the run-up to it.
So you say we. I'm not one of those guys.
Oh, well, you're not?
I was not worried at all. Everybody's like, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. I'm like, oh, no, I think it's going to be good.
Sean, Ben, Adam, all of our guys in
Gerg, Wames, both. I saw everybody.
There was an unnerving silence before the game released.
Didn't you see my fan theory as to why we had silence?
Yeah, we had no reviews or anything. Yeah. So
I said, well, maybe... they're not going to buy reviews, so they've just said no reviews until the game comes out, so they don't have to pay the journalists.
And
for their knowing that they have a good game, they just say, yeah, no reviews, it's fine. and then within a few days we'll have reviews up, Metacritic will go up, everybody's going to love it.
Turns out that was the truth, because the day of the game releasing was the day that the embargo lifted, and everyone just came out saying it's fantastic, it's amazing. I played it for myself 5 a.m. in the morning. I got up to play it, partly to put up the 4K gameplay, which again took 24 hours to process on YouTube.
That's the weird bit. You would have thought it was the rendering that would take the long time. YouTube's really quite good at compressing stuff.
I think they're really good at everything but 4K.
Oh, okay.
I guess because it's not that popular at the moment. But anyway, it's really, really amazing. I'm loving every single bit of it so far. There are some gripes I have with it.
I believe it, yeah.
It's very clearly the first game of a new studio.
Yeah.
You can tell about some things. There's this weird mechanic that you have where you use your little rots, your little cute, adorable things. I don't know why they call them rot, the worst name in the world, but with rot, where you attach them to a teardrop of the forest. It's like this water bubble. And then when they're in that water bubble, they can destroy some of this infected forest for you and clear the path. That mechanic is the most clunky thing in the world, and it doesn't want to follow you. I'm like, no, down, and it just doesn't want to follow you. Just think that.
Hopefully something will get patched
Hopefully.
soon.
The moveset is very basic. It's very clearly, again, a first take at a game and stuff like that. The cutscenes aren't what we've come to expect from games where they're real-time rendered cutscenes, so they look exactly the same as the gameplay. They look a lot more beautiful, however, they're at like 24 frames a second or something that. It's a bit choppy sometimes, and I'm like, I can see. And it does take you out of it just a little bit.
Also, small studio, though. We're not, like, no one should expect, also the price should let you know, this isn't a AAA title, right?
$32.99 is really, really nothing.
And for us, it's that $16.38 or something, because we're game sharing, right? So, like, it's not a AAA title. It's not intended to go up against God of War. So, you know.
But if you take all of that in mind, that they are like a brand new studio and stuff like that, everything else, though, is absolutely superb. It's so exactly perfectly cute. It's so relaxing. The cinematography is great. Like, every time you get like a shot of an open area and stuff like that, it's so beautifully done. The lighting is great. The puzzle mechanics, the light puzzle mechanics are so good. They're so great.
Standard.
One thing, after an hour or so, in certain situations, the game goes from being so chill, so tranquil, so peaceful, everything like that, to Dark Souls.
Okay.
It just suddenly becomes, fight this boss, and it's absolutely hard.
Okay.
Interesting. I went.
It's not a roguelite, is it?
It's not. It's not. It's not like a Souls game. It's not a roguelite. It's nothing. It's just all of a sudden,
too long. Time to move on. Either you die or you move.
All of a sudden, it just went from. There was this one. I think in one of the previews we saw for one of the trailers, they showed this wood knight that you fight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's another boss. I just need to figure out the weak point for it. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm getting my ass handed to me. It took me like 18 attempts. And then after I finished the Halo stream, I went into James's stream and he was on that boss. And he's like, what is going on? Why has this suddenly become the hardest game ever? And it's like, what difficulty are you playing on? I'm playing on normal. It's not even like hard or anything like that. And we was all joking around. It's like, how suddenly it just went from this peaceful, tranquil Breath of the Wild game, Pokemon, whatever, to Demon Souls. That's what it's become.
That's interesting.
It's so strange. Anyway,
how does it feel though? Is that jarring and takes you out of it, or is it like, oh man, new challenge?
No, it's actually really fun. Like, once I figured out, okay, I actually have to use the mechanics they taught me, it was great. Because I was like,
that bugs me so much. You did that with Mass Effect as well. How dare you, Siri? Where you're like, no, I think I get it as well. And that's how I played The Witcher 3 the first time. So I'm going to play it the way I want to play it. Hardly used science, hardly used magic. I just wanted to sword fight everything. And then I was getting my ass handed to me. And you're like, oh shit, maybe I should use the stuff this game is based on.
It was. I'm blaming the game on this part because there's this, on this wood knight specifically, there's like these orange spots on it that allure you to want to shoot it. So you pull out your bow and you're like, aha, and then a bit pops off and a bit of health comes off. You're like, this is the way I'm going to kill it.
This is the mechanic.
But there's only 3 of them and the health that it takes off is maybe like 10%. So it's like, so that's 30%. I've still got 70% to go. And the other hits that you do take off such a little bit of damage. But then you realize, oh, I'm supposed to parry, and then it gets stunned and that's when you can hit. And it figures it out. There was one thing that I cut from the gameplay that I put up of my first hour because it was very embarrassing. The game doesn't teach you one thing, that triangle is the action button. where normally like square is the action button, something like that. And in one of these areas, it's teaching you for the first time how to get those little rot things. Okay. It says, use your bubble, which you've got this like shield thing that you blow out and like blue light encompasses the place.
Okay.
And it identifies the rot for you. And then after that, you're supposed to hit triangle, and then he becomes your buddy.
Right.
I was not told about that second part. In that tutorial,
I watched
it. I watched... No.
Okay.
Oh, could you imagine? Oh my God, I can't live myself.
Dead.
In that tutorial, and I watched it back in the video, it says, use your bubble to interact with thing. I use it, and it does the thing, and then it goes back to doing whatever it was before. And then I press it again, it does it. And then it goes back to whatever... And I'm like, am I missing something here? Yeah. And I spent maybe about 25 minutes in the same area doing the same thing over and over again, using my stuff to like smack it. Maybe some sense will get into it. It turns out once you do it, then you press triangle, and it was very embarrassing. But it didn't tell me.
The game didn't tell you. There's no way you could know yet.
And I put a tweet out, and I was like, Canterbury Press first hour is amazing. First pro tip, press triangle.
I did see that. I was like, so what?
And people are like, what do you mean? What do you mean? One person said, does he mean he didn't know that was like an action button? And I just stayed completely silent. Because I was like, I don't want to add more fuel to this flame. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But that's where I left it there.
Enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it a lot. I haven't finished it. I did put my Deathloop on pause, which I also enjoyed the fuck out of that game. It's actually really good.
I'm glad to hear that as well.
It's so strange it's going to be Game of the Year contender. And then, yes, I've been playing Halo Combat Evolved. Yeah. Playing it in the original graphics because I was told that is the way a true gentleman plays the game.
I will say this because it's a worry of mine. I think for number 2 you should play it in the new graphics. Yeah. Because, don't get me wrong, I loved it. And I think it's fine playing it in the original graphics. It looks a little bit jarring, but actually there's some good stuff in there. There's almost ray tracing at some points.
It's not like too bad. I don't know that found. And the visor's still got that thing.
Yeah, there are some very cool scenes in number 2. It's one of my most iconic gaming scenes. Master Chief has to return something. Has to return a DVD to Blockbuster.
Late fees,
Right. And I really want you to get to view that in its most cinematic form, because it's just that's what I think of when I think Halo.
Okay.
Anyway, how are you enjoying?
I am enjoying it. There was one bit in this last stream, I guess was. I was going to say episode, but that's not. The last stream that I was in, which kind of got on my nerves. We was finding like the security desk or the main control room of the Halo ring or whatever, and it was just an endless number of the same room over and over again.
Yeah.
And it was simply go across this hallway and then go around this circle thing through the door. Cross the hallway, round the circle, thrust through the... I did it like 18 times. I'm like, is this just going to be the end of the game? There was like arrows on the floor, so I was like, I must be going in the right direction. But I was like, I'm doing the same thing over and over again. Am I stuck in a perpetual loop or something? Turns out it wasn't. After a while, it did just give up and everything was okay. But it's getting hotter. It's getting into that point where I'm like, more interesting stuff is going on. Okay.
Things are starting to develop and like say heat up. Yeah. And it turns out there's more players. Like in everything that's playing out in the universe that you're in, there's more players than just the Covenant are the bad guys and you're trying not to get murdered. You know, so there's a lot at stake and it's good fun to see. By the way, this bugged the shit out of me. You know the hunters, those big dudes with the energy cannons and the shields.
Yes.
Shoot the orange stuff.
The orange stuff.
Between the shields, the metal stuff is orange flesh. Shoot the flesh. My God, it's so frustrating.
Which one's the hunters?
The hunters are the big dudes where, like, you know, you throw a grenade and it'll bounce off, and they have the big guns that shoot green, like, energy pulses at you.
I don't remember an orange thing. Maybe I just wasn't looking at it.
Between, like, if you imagine it as a suit of armor, between, especially, like, the core, there's a big orange chunk, and under the neck is orange as well. Shoot orange.
I'm imagining it. I swear I can't. I might need to Google them.
Google Hunter. From Halo. And also the dudes, I forget what they're called, the jackals, I think, with the energy shields. You know the energy shield has a little C at the middle. Shoot that and it will move the shield. It's so annoying that you don't know this.
I think I aim for that spot because that's what I'm like. I'm not going to shoot the shield. I'm going to shoot the arm sticking through the shield.
Right, okay, cool.
Hunter, Halo.
So one of the ways that you would do it, especially on Legendary, is you have to get behind them.
Okay, all right. So I see what you mean, but it's not as orange. So
it's not a huge amount of it. Yeah. So if you look at
barely,
go to that picture to the left, up, right. Yeah, that down.
Down.
That's the one. That, I mean, it's not very orange, but that...
Yeah, okay,
is
it's not
like-
very obvious.
That's like their flesh.
Okay.
It's the easiest way to describe it.
Okay.
Also, I thought you could do this in Halo 1. I guess not. You can, in the later games, pick up their guns. See there, that's a better vision.
A bit more obvious, yeah.
You can pick up their gun. It's dope.
Oh.
And in Halo 1 as well, apparently you couldn't pick up the energy sword.
Yeah, I was...
Because I kept saying, pick up the shank. 'cause
Yeah,
it's
I was
like
taking the piss. I was like, I ain't doing that. But then I'd go over and I'd be like, there's nothing there.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's 2 where you can do that. It's so sick.
It's really odd as well that those guys are like, I'm completely cloaked. I cannot be seen except for this lightsaber.
Yeah.
But that's
But you're
that,
enjoying
Halo.
it, yeah?
I am enjoying it. I can't wait to play a little bit more Halo. Get to the one that everyone keeps talking about.
Are you flipping
really
between
good.
the graphics?
Every now and again, I do it for fun.
Yeah.
Like when I was inside the Halo ring,
Yeah.
I was like, it looks really dark in here and it looks really like boring. And you flick it over and it's like, oh my god, there's an energy beam of light
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
through here. And it's like that's the.
I think when you get to the library, which will make sense when you get there, that you will probably want it in the new graphics.
I think I'm actually in the library. I think that's the last thing I was in.
Okay, because I did
A
think...
little robot was telling me to do something with
I did look at where you were and I was like, oh shit, this looks like Gravemind, but we'll find out next episode, I guess.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, you probably want it on the new graphics so you don't get lost, because the first time I got, this was like 2007 or something.
This is a point. Maybe because I'm used to the current version of like waypoint systems and things like
Yeah.
that. I'm always getting lost
Yeah.
in this game. Every time I'm like, they're like, oh, we have to go to the control room. Where the fuck
Yeah.
is that? Where do I go? Everything looks the same.
In that sense, it is a dated game. You can definitely tell, but still great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we jump over to what you've been playing,
Okay.
I do want to quickly thank some special people over at patreon.com/Conbrosations who make this show possible. Those super bros, those legends themselves right here. Those people are Diogo Dildo, Isak the Ultimate Cumsock, Carol to Rivia, AK Casper the Friendly Patron, Record Friction, Jeremy Renner, that's right, an official Avenger, Martin Scorsese's Master H. Barstwell, the Super Sus Ben Fryer, the Star Wars Encyclopedia Adam Sunling, the Filthy FIFA Fanatic Joe McCormack, which has a new FIFA out, you must be really happy. My juicy left nut, the super sexy producer Sean, and Kevin, the #1 simp. Of Xbox. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights and mics on and the gaming going here at the True Gamer Podcast.
That's right.
So,
that reminds me. Did you ever change the intro? Have you changed the intro yet?
No, do you know what? I went to it and I was like looking at different footage and I was like, it's
It
not
doesn't fit right.
different enough.
Okay.
And I was like, what am I going to replace? Am I going to replace... I wasn't going to replace the God of War that we've got now
Right.
because that's actually an integral part.
Yeah.
He does the roar and then it jumps
Yeah,
into
yeah.
the final bit. So that's... And I was like, what else do I
There'll
remove
be an
then?
updated version of something from the new game.
I mean, it progressed when last year around December time.
Yeah.
I'm guessing by the time this December rolls around, something
Hopefully.
else will be out.
Hopefully.
We'll get some Horizon Forbidden West in there,
Get
maybe.
some Ratchet and Clank or something in there. Something,
Ratchet
you know?
and Clank, that's a good one. So yeah, there'll be new stuff
Yeah.
in there. It'll progress over time.
Yeah.
What have you been playing, good sir?
Well, I've been pretty busy, or had been pretty busy, so I hadn't had a chance to finish the director's cut for Ghost of Tsushima, which I have now finished.
Oh, okay.
And I decided the last time that I sat down to play it, I was like, okay, I have a bunch of time. I'm going to sit down and play this. And because it's side content, like in and of itself, it doesn't really affect the main game.
No.
So I'll just do the main quest. I'll just go through it because it is side content as it is, right? So I spawned in.
Here we go.
And I remembered, because I'd totally forgotten, you have the Saratobi armor, the monkey armor.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, sick, I forgot about this, and forgot how it worked. It turned out where I spawned in, there was one of those patrols, so I fight them. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, it gives me the perfect parry boost,
Yeah.
It's freaking OP, it's so sick. And then I remembered on this version I don't have the monkey mask, so I had to go and do all the bamboo strikes on the main island. I'm not joking. To complete the set.
Sorry, I'm still recovering from my illness, guys.
So
fuck it, that's just so you.
So I did do that. And while I was doing that,
Oh god.
no, this one isn't too bad. It is easy to forget how fast travel is on PS5.
Yeah.
So there was one of the strikes that was up top of a mountain, and the way I'd come up to it following the wind, I was at the bottom of the mountain. So I start climbing it, and it's way up there. About halfway up, it says, "Oh, the bamboo strike," and I'm like, I wonder if I can cheese this. Go to the map, hit the strike, there instantly.
You just went up
Yeah,
there.
it just fast traveled to me. And basically it was like a teleport. I was like, yeah, I'm here. A second, not even that, of blacks, and then I'm there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is an exploit as far as I'm concerned at this
Yeah.
point.
If
Anyway,
you was to have a faster, what are those when games done quick? What are they? Speed run. If you have to speed run it, you'd fuck it up there.
Oh, mate, you got to do it on the PS5.
Yeah.
So anyway, did the bamboo strikes, finally did that. And then I did eventually get around to the main quest and finish it, which was cool. I learned all about Tenzo's relationship to Jin, which was cool. I saw Jin come to terms with the stuff with his dad, which obviously the guys at Sucker Punch are listening to me, because isn't that exactly... You finished it, yeah?
Yeah.
Isn't that exactly what I said?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
anyway, it was really good. It was really good. And I haven't got around to Kenna yet, because...
I want people to put in bets. When is the next... What podcast? What number podcast? I think this is 62 we're around right now. What podcast is it going to be where we talk about what we've played, and Sheps is going to be saying... Okay, I've officially finished Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm now playing other things.
I still haven't actually played... I haven't finished Ratchet & Clank, because it's a stream game. It's been doomed. But so, I want to finish up Ratchet & Clank and Control. Also, that Alan Wake DLC's out in a... Or remake, I should say, is out in a couple of weeks.
The remake, yeah.
I don't know if I'll play that, because the Alan Wake DLC was much more horror than the rest of Control.
That's why I hear about Alan Wake, yeah.
I liked Control. I liked the mystery of it. There wasn't really much of a character story. I wasn't invested in Jessie or her brother or anything, really.
Yeah.
But I was very much invested in what's going on. The Alan Wake stuff was more horror, and I'm not really a horror guy.
Yeah.
But I would like to finish Control. I need to finish Ratchet & Clank. I haven't got around to Kenna, not because I don't want to, and I did have the time. But recently I downloaded Warzone to play with you and the boys, and we haven't played it. And it's just been eating up 150 gigabytes of hard drive space.
Mate, do you know what you should do?
What should I do?
You should upgrade your PS5 storage.
Oh, I should do that.
There just happens to be a handy tutorial on our channel, guys.
Oh, wow.
If you want to do it, it takes... The whole video itself is like 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
It's about
You can
what
do
it
this
takes
thing
to do that, yeah.
in no time at all. And a handy, some might say professional. In fact, some people did say professional video right now.
That is what I will be doing.
Just go check that.
At some point I am going to get the M.2, the proper one. And I am going to... Even though I know how to do it, I'm going to watch the thing just to double check. Like that spacer thing and which screw, the order of the screws is easy to forget unless you're watching. Okay, this is the one that goes there. I mean...
Become overconfident. You're like,
Yeah.
no, I've done it wrong.
Right, exactly.
By the way, just a quick aside.
Yeah.
Apparently Sony have a while ago purchased like a chip making company, and they've released sort of stealthily under a different name M.2 drives.
Really?
And I don't know if they've done that because they're going to make their own versions and make them as cheap as possible so they can supply it to people and whatnot.
Maybe.
Or if they're doing that to drive down the price, because obviously more competition and lower prices brings things down and whatnot. Anyway, just a quick aside, it's not made major headlines or anything like that. I saw it and I was like,
Yeah.
interesting.
But you can get... The point is that you can get fast enough M.2 to upgrade your PS5 memory for like... What's the small... What's 500 gigs?
The 500 gig one you get for like 80 quid.
Yeah.
I think that's quite reasonable.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, the PS5 is very fast, and I know everybody has them because they're so easily available.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. I sometimes trip over them. I'm like, oh no, the PS5.
Right. It's just raining PS5s. But although it is incredibly fast to get games up there, or like a deleted a Plague Tale to get the Ghost of Tsushima director's cut back on.
Yeah.
And then once I finished that, pulled that off and put Plague Tale up, took like, I don't know, I put it on rest mode and let it do its thing while I watched Netflix on the PS4 with the chick, and by the time we were done watching it, it was done. It's very quick. But you need the extra space, especially if you're going to have a game like Warzone and Cyberpunk on there. Just them two alone is more than half your space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, A Plague Tale, I do mean to play that. I'm going to finish Ratchet & Clank Control after Kenna, though. I want to play Kenna.
You should. It's one of those really great games. It's I don't think it's going to be Game of the Year, but it is one of those
games you should play this year.
Between gamers, I think it's one of those ones where you say, you have to play it. You have to play it. It's a bit like people were telling me all the time. They were like,
Yeah.
Ori and the Blind Forest. You have to play it.
It's
I was
one
like,
of them.
I think it's one of them games.
Yeah.
So that's really cool right there.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
I can't exactly remember the dates for Forspoken and Eve Online. Not Eve Online, just Eve. Project Eve.
Project Eve. I know that Forspoken is spring 2022.
Yeah.
We don't have an official date for that, but it's a window. Project Eve.
I forgot about Project Eve. I thought that was 2022 as well.
I think it might.
I'm curious if, because I think we're both hyped in the same way we were hyped for Kenna.
Yeah.
We're both hyped for Forspoken.
Yes. Yeah.
Also,
Especially
Amy
now
Hennig.
that it's got Amy Hennig on it. Yeah.
Like that. Like how do you turn that away? Like Amy Hennig is doing the story. She's like,
It says TBA still, so it hasn't been announced.
okay. Are you excited for? I assumed you were for Forspoken. What about Eve?
It's not usually my jam.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not a huge JRPG kind of guy.
Yeah, I'd probably watch a stream of it, someone
Yeah.
playing. Like if it, I imagine this is kind of up Jass's alley, and
Yeah.
I could watch him play it if he was to be doing it. But I don't know if I would play
Yeah.
it. But
Fair
hey,
enough.
everyone who wants to enjoy it, go be cool,
But
no problem.
Forspoken,
Forspoken, I think I will be definitely.
that's a
getting into
definite
that.
for us.
I
Yeah.
think I will be definitely. That doesn't make no sense.
Yeah.
I will be definitely getting into that. I think that looked really cool and
It
very
looked great.
interesting. The traversal, everything was so cool.
It looked
So
good. It, very much Infamous vibes, right?
cool. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, with a bit more.
With
bit
the
more. I think this is a bit more elemental.
Yes.
Whereas Infamous was like
Second Son
flames
was
and
very
stuff like that.
elemental,
But I feel like this
No
was more
neon.
like ice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then there was like portals. It was really cool. Really
It
cool
looked cool.
stuff. Bro,
Yes.
we have a special. Sorry, before we go, bro.
Yes.
This is the True Gamer Podcast.
That's right.
Coming to your eyes and ears every Saturday here at youtube.com/
Just search for the True Game Podcast.
Just search for the True Gamer Podcast over on YouTube and podcast services around the world where you can find us on everything. Spotify,
right.
Apple, all that good stuff. If you like what we do here and you want to support us over here on YouTube, you can hit that like button. It helps us out. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell for
Sometimes
occasional
getting
notifications from us.
I have never once had a notification for our channel because I come in as a
Yeah.
mod on my old channel. Never once had one on time. I will get them 2 days after the stream
Yeah.
sometimes. So the notification, hit all if you're going to do the notification thing. But it's like a maybe.
Yeah, it won't spam you. It'll just be like, maybe today I'll do
Right.
something. As well as that, you can search for us on podcast services. Search for The True Gamer. We're everywhere. If you're over there, you can also rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
Helps a lot.
It helps out a lot. A lot of people find us from like podcast services, and it's great. Just random videos started playing. Yeah, and that's really awesome. If, however, you like what we do
That's
here,
right.
you like the true gaming that's going on, you can take your support a step further, and you can head over to patreon.com/Conbrosations,
Yeah.
where you can kick us a couple of bucks a month, and it helps support all kinds of things going on here.
Yeah, you get extra stuff for that. What do they get?
And in return, you get, at the $1 level, you get 2 exclusive shows. You have the Conbrosations podcast, which
Yeah.
is our unfiltered podcast. We talk about everything in our
Yeah.
lives and get down and dirty. You get the True Gamer Plus episode, which is a supplement to this podcast. We talk more about gaming, specific topics, stuff like that. Really cool things. New ones happening this week and also next week because I was ill last week, so 2 weeks in a row. And at the $5 tier, you get early access to this podcast
Yep.
2 days early with all of the other amazing
That's
bros. However, guys,
At the Super Bro tier as well, you get abuse.
at the Super Bro tier, you get abuse.
Yeah,
Total
that's
abuse.
right.
You really, it feels painful
Yeah.
afterwards.
But for real, you can join over 50 patrons over there, so
Damn right.
you don't want to be left out.
If you want to be an awesome patron, you can join the group of true gamers.
That's right.
Do you like these true gamers? Are they your friends? Are they your friends here? They're better than the $15 tier people, but they're not.
They're not the $1 tier
No.
guys. Yeah.
The best people are the $1 people, but then the $5 tier.
I feel like we need to do some extra training with like upsells here for you because
I'm working down.
you're going the wrong way, bro.
Look, the more they pay, the more we hate them. Okay, that's
It's
the
a
way
true
it works.
fact. Man, you don't want to know what happens at $69 tier. We hire a hitman to come after you. So there is content up there though, isn't there, for $69? Yeah, there is.
There is. Yeah, so we have our true gamers at the $5 tier who support us to help make this podcast possible.
Yes.
That's what they pledge to us for. And those people are Jeremy Horde, Sheps' Crusty Right Nut, Cats Bacoral, Isak Manny, Record Friction, Tobias Forge. Please release the new Ghost album. Sincerely, Adam.
Oh, Ghost. Did you say Ghost of Tsushima?
Ghost
Ghost of Tsushima.
Kevin Crow, Super Whale Ben, Joe McCormack, GC Nightwalker, Diogo, Jack Nicholas, You Absolute Thithering Thothage, aka Zacchino, Bada, the Boom, I Bada, the Bing. Eddie, Fix Your Fence, Vanda, Fishy, The Jackal, Max H, Cobra SS, Albie, and Albie Scory. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights and mics on and this podcast happening each and every week.
That's right. We, I took a drink of whatever that was, and
Has it killed you?
it's killed me, and I want to speak. It's making me cough.
I'd recommend you don't speak throughout the entire
That'll
episode.
make it a top 10% podcast.
They'll be like, woo, this one's a banger, lads. Woo.
I was gonna say we couldn't do it without you. We could do it without you, but just be a lot worse quality.
Yeah. The shit that you guys have bought us literally has made this podcast worth listening to. Before it was like,
I mean, for real, because I think people just sort of think once you get a channel monetized, like, oh, it's time to make money off content. Like we haven't made any money. Like pretty much. 100%.
If we have, we've got nothing to show for it.
Yeah, like we got these are professional. I think they're a little bit above entry level professional quality mics. We got 2 cameras that'll do 4K. Although luckily for you, we don't let you look at us in 4K. That would just be awful for you.
We all saw the news anchors when they went to 4K. It's like, I could see your pause.
Right. I know you didn't ask, but interior decorating stuff we drilled into the wall.
Yes, we did. Thanks to your money.
Something we did spend our Patreon money on, which is not tech.
Oh yeah, we should do that.
Let's do this.
So guys, yeah, with our with the money that you guys gave us so graciously.
Let me here, you open that.
Let
me preface this.
Go on.
Over on our Discord, which is genuinely one of my favorite places on the internet. One of my favorite rooms is a show and tell room. So if you're in there, if you like music or you make art or anything like that, show and tell. That's where you put it. Anything, even if you do something at work that was cool and you want to show someone, like that's where people put stuff. And one of our boys, Cobrass67 started a business.
Yes.
Making like OG hand drawn like fantasy maps, and we decided it's not good. Oh, that looks sick.
I'm not sure what this is, but it's a little envelope with a little Pikachu on it.
And we thought it's not good enough that he started a business. We wanted to be one of the first customers because it's cool and he's one of our boys. And so we ordered,
we ordered a map.
We ordered Kanto.
Yes, the Pokemon, the first map. Oh, look at that!
He's got a
nice
leather bound. That's cool.
It's a nice little, nice little twine, string right there.
It's an OG pirate map kind of thing,
stamped with a compass there.
And he's got a leather.
Nathan Drake vibes from this.
He's got a wax seal that he uses on stuff, which is cool.
On the back of this, there's a wax seal there. And let's open this way.
Ooh. Oh man!
Ooh, okay.
Do you know what?
Right.
They look good in the pictures, like on the show and tell room, but that looks sick.
I'm gonna post pictures up on Twitter and everything like that, so you can see high quality stuff. This is the Kanto map, as you can see in the corner with the wax seal, and it's got all of the little cities and the route names and stuff like that.
Like a Pallet Town.
And look,
sick.
We got an Ash and a Pikachu in there.
Thank you, Chris. That is going up on the wall.
So cool. I'm gonna get a nice frame for it. That's what I'm gonna do.
Do you know what's nice? So I said this. I'm pretty sure I said this when you also had Isla.
Yeah.
Which is when people have kids and you're like, oh, what a gorgeous baby, what a gorgeous. Like some kids are ugly, but you have to say that they're cute. And Isla's genuinely gorgeous, And it's cool to be able to. It's the best thing you've ever done.
I made her. Yeah. Can you believe it?
I'm gonna say she did most of the work. It's cool to buy something from one of your bros, not just to support them, but because you think it's cool, and then it comes and it's even cooler than you thought it would be. Which this is a lot cooler than I thought it would be.
The wax seal impresses me as well, because it's gold, but then there's a silver bit in the middle. How do you do that?
I have no idea.
That's crazy.
It's sick.
That's really awesome.
It's sick. It's genuinely cool. Also, he streams on Twitch, so every now and then, if no one's on and he's streaming, he streams making these things.
Ah, that's awesome.
Drawing them. Yeah, he just hangs out listening to music.
I didn't see that. What was that?
It's a thank you note.
Oh, okay.
Also, sick handwriting, bro.
Yeah, the fucking calligraphy classes. What's
me
that all
check
about? Yeah,
this
go and
out.
check it out.
So sorry that we're like just hanging out, but this is actually awesome.
I hope he doesn't mind me reading this out, but I'm going to read it. Thanks for pushing me to do what I love. Thanks for supporting me on this. And thanks for being the awesome Pokemon masters you are.
Ah,
Bro, you're the one with the talent and the passion.
yeah.
We just nudged you along, okay? Thank you very much.
This looks sick. This is better than I thought it would be, to be
Yeah.
honest. Also, that is exactly what I wanted when I
Yeah?
asked for the little Ash. Like, do you see how it's all like pixelated? Like it looks like on the
Yeah.
OG Game Boy Color and shit.
Do you want to break this or shall I break it?
I don't want to break it. It's
I know.
so sick.
What's inside?
Do you know what? Should we ask him if there's anything in there? If it's just a cool thing?
I imagine it's probably something good in there, right?
Maybe, but I don't want to break that seal. It's so sick.
We'll message him. I'll post
Yeah.
everything up on Twitter so you guys can see anyway.
Oh, the ferry! I forgot about the ferry of Vermilion. Sick.
I did ask for one thing. I didn't check it on the back. Is there anything on there?
On the
Oh no! I asked him. I said for Sheps. It was a Sheps request.
Okay.
I said he wanted a big animated Misty on the back.
Oh yeah.
He clearly didn't follow my instructions.
Well,
it's
animated
worth
or my
nothing. Now, I'm gonna
favorite
throw it away.
actor from the
From
MCU.
What If, yeah.
And What If? The tentacle monster.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. That needs to be framed.
Yes.
It's going up in the man cave. So show and tell on the Discord. If you do anything,
Thank you, bro.
if you make music, art, photos, people post up their in-game, the photo mode stuff, anything, stick in the show and tell. It's one of my favorite rooms on the Discord. It's one of my favorite places on the internet. Forget that it's my Discord. Like, I love that room. It's so sick.
This guy is
Anyway,
pimping his
we
own
got a first topic.
thing. What was he doing? Oh, yeah. I've lost over
I
there.
knew.
Oh, topics for today.
Yeah.
So today's topics include.
Yeah?
Good question. Let me just pull that up.
Oh, really? Those are some sick topics, bro.
I thought
know
you'd like
We
them.
had some God of War news. I know you want to talk about Death
Yes.
Stranding Director's Cut.
Yes. So, The Last of Us TV show. We'll be talking a little bit about that.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about Star Wars games being made by other companies. The floodgates are open now.
Yes, yeah.
Apple and Fortnite. The war rages on.
Okay.
And
That's a sick movie title. The War Rages
The war
On.
rages on. And the topic of the show, God of War, how we think the story is going to unfold based on the new information that
Yeah.
the Norse mythology, the Norse saga, will be ending with God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah. Where do you
Okay,
want to start?
let's start with that God of War one.
Okay.
So this comes from, I'm going to read a little excerpt from a Forbes article right here. This is from Paul Tassi. I've seen a couple of his stuff before. He seems to write good stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it. God of War Ragnarok's preview at Sony's recent PS5 showcase was well received, but didn't play. Oh, we're good. You're moving the mouse.
I was moving the mouse over there, and I was like, I wonder if this is still connected.
I'm seeing my mouse go all over my laptop here. Okay, was well received, but didn't reveal a ton of new info past. This very much looks like a sequel to God of War. It's very true.
Right.
That's all we thought. Which is all alone really, all we really wanted to see.
First try.
But one note that did stand out was the news that Ragnarok would actually be the end of the Norse saga for God of War.
Yeah.
Concluding this chapter for Kratos and Atreus after just 2 games. It's a far cry from what we saw in the original Greek mythology-based God of War series, where Kratos murdered the gods and titans across 3 mainline games and sub-adventures. While his journey into the Norse realm will be over after encountering just a handful of legends from that pantheon.
Yeah.
Cory Barlog explained why this is the case in a recent interview, and he says, one of the important reasons for the first is that the first game took 5 years. The second game is going to take close to similar time, and the third one...
But wait, they're reusing assets. So lazy. I'm sorry, I can't get over that. It's the dumbest
dumb thing.
thing.
And the third one... We'll probably take about the same time, and we're taking the span of close to 15 years on a single story. And I feel like that's just too stretched out, he says. Borlaug goes on to explain that the core of the story is about Kratos and Atreus, and they felt like they could conclude the tale in 2 games without expanding the ripples in a pond and the entire ocean to an entire ocean worth of storytelling,
right.
He says. And he goes on to talk a little bit about like comparing it to God of War, the original trilogy and whatnot. So, with that new information in mind, because we have done an episode before where we predicted like what's going to be the next game about.
After God of War finished, we spoke about this. What would we do?
Exactly. What would we do? Where would we go? We came with you specifically came up with a couple of where you went to other places with other gods, like the gods of Anubis and
Egypt and stuff. Yeah, basically that fleeing Thor and Odin, they end up in a different realm and have to sort of kill their way through that, and then realize actually we have to go back and face this threat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
However, it seems like we're going to be very much still in the Norse area. We're supposed to be in the realm of the Nine, still with the 9 realms and things like that.
Midgard and all that.
Exactly. And that's where we're going to be staying. And it's crucially, it's going to be concluded after 2 games.
Yeah.
There's no rule that says everything has to be a trilogy.
Agreed.
But that is usually the trend. How do you feel about this being 2 games and we're not going to get a third one?
I don't mind it as long as it... Tyler's going to love this. Much like the movies, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Yeah.
They're freaking dragged out.
Yeah.
They don't need to be 3... The Hobbit doesn't need to be 3 movies.
Yeah.
And I would rather be left wanting more than finish it thinking, man, I wish they would have stopped at 2, you know? And it's like, Thor arrives in the end of the first game, pretty much. Or like the cinematic in between the 2 games. Like, it's right there on the doorstep. If they're going to conclude it and it's good enough, like, he doesn't have to do what he did in the original God of War. He's a different Kratos, so he doesn't have to kill every single god.
Yeah.
He only has to fight whoever he's got beef with. And I think the big telling thing is going to be their relationship with Tyr. Depending on how this goes. And I'm not saying they will make another God of War game. And I'm really concerned that what might happen is this ends up being like a redacted company thing where they just keep churning out titles, which I don't want. I don't think they would do that.
Yeah,
but
it seems out of character for them.
It would be very easy for them to go, okay, we wrapped up the Norse mythology and they had this relationship with Tyr. We're going to Egypt. We'll do an Egypt game.
Yeah.
We're going to the ancient England and doing like the Celtic gods, the UK, I mean. We're going to go to like Africa and do the African gods. We're going to go to Japan and do Japanese gods. Yeah. Like, it'd be very easy to do that.
It all depends on the intent, really, isn't it?
Right.
Because if you can do that, but if you do it poorly, then
it just becomes Kratos beefs out all these different gods.
Yeah.
And I think while it's a great like premise to set your game around, it's not a good enough reason to make a game.
Yeah.
And it would be very cool to see Kratos in Japan doing, and I mean, like, not because I'm an anime fan, but there's some really interesting Japanese gods, and we've seen stuff from Ghost of Tsushima Legends, you know, the Oni and stuff, some cool shit.
Yeah.
So I could see that this doesn't mean it's the end of the franchise, right? And that's what I mean with their relationship with Tyr. Is Tyr, from, you know, when you find his hall, there's all the different places he's visited.
Yes, yeah.
So it could well be that they're like, okay, well, this Norse era, it's not for us. There's too much beef here. Let's leave. And then they leave, and then the next game is, oh, hey, we turned up in Egypt, right? Yep. As an example. I'm okay if it ends with if that's the last we see of Kratos and Atreus, as long as if this game is as good or better than the last game, you can end it there, man.
We'll talk about it sort of ties into what you're saying, the length of this game, supposedly, in a second. I had a moment where I was like, oh man, it's going to be ending. I mean, if it ends well, then that's good. Don't go any further than that. If you can execute the landing,
season 5 or whatever it was.
Exactly. If you can stick the landing, then why continue?
Right.
Why continue? But there was parts of me that was like, because I'm a big God of War fan, I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big God of War fan, I was like, yeah, but I want more of this. I want more God of War. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, maybe they're saying the end of the God of Norse Saga because that's the Norse Saga that's finished. Then we're going to go somewhere else. I was like, yeah, let's get excited. But then I thought to myself, what was the reason why they went to the Norse Saga? Was because they were setting up Loki, the son.
Maybe, yeah.
If they're going to go,
Loki's in the game?
Apparently, it's teased in one of the little extra deleted scenes you didn't see.
Okay.
So what would be they can come up with a reasoning, but then it's like, okay, so now you're forcing Kratos and Atreus to go to an entirely different realm with other gods and stuff like that. For what reason? Like, at least they were like, okay, the Norse one, we get it. You got Loki. That's what you're trying to. That's our endpoint into this. That's why he's here. But then the other ones it would seem very forced, and then it would be like Redacted Company.
I think
that like it gets a little bit.
I think it'd be. with enough workup and an idea in place, I think it's actually quite easy to make another.
You think so?
To get to a new realm, yeah.
I think they're quite difficult.
You need to
Make it compelling.
see Tyr showing them that, like, yeah, I went to all these other realms and bigging up the reasons that he went and that you can go there and not have conflict between gods. So we learn that through the game, and then have a scene where Atreus gets through his moody teen stuff, like we saw moody Atreus in the first game, which I was worried about. Hopefully in this game, if he has a moment, it's like a little bit, maybe a flashback or something, like, why did you come? How did you meet Mother? And why did you come? And if we get the idea that, like, leaving your own place and searching for a place to live in peace is the goal, then they can go searching for a place to live in peace. I don't think it's too hard to get to an Egypt game or a Japan game or whatever and make it compelling. To a compelling reason for them to go traveling, I think is perfectly reasonable.
To be honest, when it comes to stories like that, the ones that you can't see coming and the ones that they somehow execute perfectly, those turn out to be the best stories.
God of War 2018 was exactly that.
Exactly. You never saw that coming.
No.
You never saw it coming. Even The Last of Us 2, we never saw that coming. We're like, how's that going to go? So these are amazing stories, and it takes someone who can truly write a good story to come up with that, to come up with the idea and make it great. So it's possible. I'll agree that. I'll agree that.
I'm with you though.
I just think that
I'd rather finish on a high.
There was a very good reason why he was in the Norse
I would
setting.
rather finish on a high for sure.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, if Kratos kills like Thor and Odin and shit, then he stops Ragnarok.
So that's a question. Do you think that could happen? Do you think he could kill Odin's son?
I think Kratos' power.
Odin's son is Odin.
Yeah, Thor Odin's son. Yeah,
I think that's Thor Odin's son. So if can he kill Odin, the All-Father himself?
I think Kratos' like god ability. If you just to make it really simple, if you think like Zeus throws lightning, right, and so does Thor.
Yeah.
I think Kratos' ability is that he manifests his own strength. He's as strong as he needs to be.
Right.
So in a weird way, Kratos is like the Hulk almost. He's the strongest, depending on how angry he is, depending on how much he needs to be strong. Right.
Spartan Rage.
So I think that's Kratos' actual ability, and he doesn't know that. Is that he's as strong as he needs to be. And so it's all psychological. If you can make him think he's not strong enough, he isn't strong enough.
Right.
If he needs to be strong enough, he will be. So can he kill Odin? Yes, I think he can. Will he? Totally different ball game.
Yeah.
Because Odin is the whole point of Odin is he's cunning and he's all about knowledge, right? That's why he's called the one-eyed and stuff. Like he gives up an eye to get knowledge.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of... Odin's a really cool character, but Kitty, yeah. And also, I gotta be honest, for me, that's what I want to see. I want to see Kratos upsetting prophecies and shit because I'm invested in Kratos, and it's cool that he's got Atreus, and I love their relationship. I love the father-son dynamic, but I'm there for Kratos, and he has Atreus. I'm not there for Atreus who has Kratos. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to see Kratos fucking up Ragnarok, and that's like, no, we have to leave because I'm disrupting the world. We have to go somewhere.
There was a thought. Speaking of like Atreus and whatnot, people were saying, well, could the next game be Atreus only, or
would you play that
90% Atreus? That's the thing. I wouldn't either, because it is God of War. Well, you know what?
Right? Tell a lie, because I thought
at least in its current form, we don't know.
Let's draw an analog, right? The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Last of Us 1, I'm invested in Joel and his relationship with Ellie, and I loved Ellie as a character. Absolutely loved Ellie as a character. And now I thought when we found out we'd be playing as Ellie that I wouldn't, as much as I love Ellie, that Joel's the character I'm invested in. And I wouldn't want to play as the daughter, I'd want to play as the father, right?
Yeah.
Turned out that was totally not the case.
So many things it threw us through a loop, innit?
If Atreus is going to save Kratos and then at the end, let's say save or redeem or find Kratos, like maybe he gets Atreus strong enough in this game and then he leaves. He's like, boy, I bring nothing but death and destruction. I have to leave to keep you safe and so you can live a real life of peace. And he leaves, and the next game is Atreus going to find him, and then weirdly enough, like going through Kratos' own steps, like he goes to Egypt to find Kratos and becomes this god of war almost.
Yeah.
Loki. You know, maybe. But I also want to play as Kratos. I would want it to be a case of like, by 75% of the way through the game, you've got so far, and then you're kidnapped or you lose. Atreus loses, and he's about to go, and Kratos gets word, and he's like, "Oh, all of Egypt is going to kill my son? No, 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 no. I'm just going to come and end the Egyptian pantheon." And the last 25% of the game is you as like pissed Kratos, you know, where Spartan Rage is like the warm up. You know,
the warm up to the workout, to the pre-workout, to the workout.
Oh, right, exactly. It's the Euro training Kratos. So I could see it. I'm there for Kratos though. I'm there for Kratos. So it'll be. But I trust Santa Monica. It's really tough to call in it.
This is the thing. Like, while we have our ideas and we have our thoughts and our preferences and whatnot, at the end of the day, the creators are going to do what they want.
Our preferences as men.
Exactly, men. That's right. The creators are going to do what they want, as they should, and we are just here to experience it and then give our thoughts on it.
Yes,
and that's our point.
It's the way it should be as well.
Of us gamers, that's the way it's supposed to be. Exactly. Right. And if they were to do that, all power to them, and I'll play the game and I'll see what I think, and we'll talk about it that way.
What I hope they do is they don't try and make a game that they think we want. I think they need to make a game that we don't know we need.
Yeah.
And that's what they did with God of War 4.
Exactly.
Is they made a game that no one was asking for. No one, because we didn't know we needed it, but they had the story and everything started to come into, all the pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place.
Yeah.
In my head, I want a sixth game. I want to play more of Kratos, and I kind of like the idea that he can't ever really get away from this destruction, and it's not his fault. It's any time a new god appears in a pantheon of gods, they're all going to beef him out because there's a new god, right? So he can't ever really get away from anything because gods are everywhere.
Yeah.
But he's trying to get away, and the only real way out is to either become a god king in his own right, which is not what he wants or needs. You know, like, I like that idea. I want to have Kratos fight like Anubis and shit. I want that. But not if it's going to cheapen the relationship we developed, you know. So I'll be okay with it being the end in one more game, unless they can do another high quality thing, you know.
Yeah. So
yeah,
there's a rumor.
Yes.
That got to, I think it was David Jaffe, which was the co-creator of the original God of War games. Apparently, this game is going to be 40 hours long.
What's
the first
the OG?
game was around about 15 to 20 hours.
No. Oh, maybe for someone that can actually follow a quest line.
Yeah, maybe. Have a look on howtobeat.com or whatever it is, or howtobeat in Google, and you'll come up with that. I think it was 15, 20 hours. Double check that for me and we'll see what we
So, How Long to Beat says the main story is 21 hours.
21 hours. So,
so double.
How do you feel about possibly, not confirmed, possibly that being the case?
So it's going to be a 100-hour game for me.
For you, yeah, it will be, yeah.
Depending on the number of Valkyries. Which a bunch of you guys may not know this, but I think I got to almost the Valkyrie Queen, right?
Yeah, you got really far, and I was like, the game hasn't been finished.
I didn't have the Chaos Blades. I know that for a fact. I'm like, bro, this last Valkyrie is like, she's fucking me up. I can't. What is the deal? Like, what am I doing wrong? Yeah, like, what am I doing wrong? And you're like, you finished the game, right? I'm like, no, not even close. not even close.
Bro, what are you doing?
The only reason you taught me out of it is you were like, no, that's a legit end game spoiler. If you can beat this, which I don't know if you could, but like, if you beat this, you spoil the end of the game. I was like,
yeah,
all right, fine. Anyway, what was the thing?
For it being 40 hours long, how do you feel about that?
I'm a little bit concerned because that was the number that we heard from Redacted Company's previous game, also set in a similar mythology.
But the last one was fucking over 100 hours.
Was it?
Have a look at, seriously, type in AC Odyssey. I think it's, the Platinum I know anyway is like over 100 hours.
I'm thinking Valhalla.
Oh, that one, sorry, yeah. No, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
You said Odyssey.
Sorry, I did say Odyssey, didn't I?
Let's have a look. Because just so I'm curious, main story 57 hours.
That's quite mad.
That's so not okay.
But still, it's getting close to that number.
Yes. The one thing is, so far, all of the games... You haven't played the original trilogy games, have you?
No.
They're basically side-scrolling button bashers. But
okay.
So far, they've all been really considerate of your time. Which is not to say that they aren't long. Like, 20 hours to beat a game isn't a short game.
No.
But at no point did I feel like I was spinning my wheels or wasting my time. At no point did I feel that. If that's the case, it's okay. Also, it means that instead of making 2 titles, they're giving us 2 games.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, they've gone, we're going to tell all the story in 2 games. And I'm like, yeah, but if you put those 2 games into one, because that's what it seems like. From
that
what
would also make sense as to why it's taking them 5 years to produce it.
That's another point as well, because I was like, it's taking... don't get me wrong, it's not just an asset flip game where you just drag and drop and then now put the story in on the USB and then it's done.
Reusing assets is not as simple as copy pasta.
Exactly, and everything's been updated, more detail. Even in the posters that they've posted online of like Kratos, people and all the other characters, people are putting them side by side. So much more detail now, so much more. Even Mimir, which is just a fucking head, he's got braided beard. He's got more detail on his horns.
It's things like those animations. It's okay. The animation is there. We have that skeletal movement already worked out, and now we can put assets on top. We don't have to go all the way back to mocap and stuff like that. That's where they save time.
And even that, they've added like a ton new weapons now. You can smash the shield down now. You can get different shields. There's so much more work going to do. But
that's cool. That's something I wanted actually in the last game.
But still, it is still the fundamentals of the same game.
Yeah.
So it should have, in theory, it should have been like 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Instead of 4 to 5 years.
Makes sense if they're making 2 games, basically.
Exactly. If they're bundling that all in together,
also,
maybe
Jesus Christ, imagine $70 for 2 God of War 4s. Fuck.
If that's the case, that's going to be actually very good. So when I first heard it, I went from worried. I was like, are they stretching this out? Is this going to be too much fluff in it that I just don't need? Because the first one was such a concise story and it was great. And then we're going to go to that. But then I thought about it more. Maybe, possibly, this is 2 games that they're rolling into one. Just so they don't have to spend 15 years on it and they've rolled it in.
The only difficulty with that is you have to... What makes storytelling good is the right distribution of like peaks and valleys and lulls. Because you can't just be all action all the time. It actually gets boring.
Exactly.
It stops being stimulating.
You stop being sensitized to it. Yeah.
So... as long as they can maintain that for functionally 2 games worth of play time, and they've got the story to fill the time, that could be amazing. I trust Santa Monica. So far, we've been burned before.
Yes.
But, so far, everything's coming up PlayStation.
Yeah.
Apart from a couple of shitty practices that they've done. And I feel like Santa Monica know how to tell a story. The whole team doing this isn't a brand new team coming onto a project like you got with... Functionally, the guys doing Cyberpunk, you had some of the same leads, but most of the guys making the project, they scaled up by like 10x.
The company. A bunch of new people.
Yeah. So these are guys that have worked on all 4 games. Yeah. That know the story inside and out. That know their characters inside and out. That are there when Christopher Judge, and I forget the kid's name, do their mocap. But they're there like helping them be the character they're trying to be. They know this story. So I'm okay with it. I'm not worried. I'll say that. I'm not worried.
I think the 40 hours, the way that it could be looked at, and this could just be me being like typical, I love God of War, so I'm going to choose to look at it in this light. I think it could be a very good thing in terms of how many of the gods get their own dedicated time.
That would be good.
Because when this is Ragnarok, so we have to defeat Odin in this to like overcome Ragnarok and whatnot.
Or Thor at least, yeah.
Exactly. I feel like they showed Thor in the most terrible way, by the way. They just showed a picture of it online. They're like, Twitter post, here you go, here's a picture of Thor.
Yeah, that's not how you do it.
That should have been a big reveal. At least in the trailer it should have been.
Yes.
But it wasn't.
There's a lot of really weird stuff with Thor, like he's left-handed.
I don't know if he was left-handed or right-handed.
The axe is on his left. The hammer's on his left, so I assume he's left-handed. Also, we know for a fact Tyr is the god of war. Tyr is the Norse god of war, which is really interesting. So what their relationship is...
That's going to be
need a lot of time to...
So this is what I'm thinking about. So like the fight for between him and Thor is probably going to take up at least like Act 1 or whatever. And I feel like it'll be like 3 main acts, and they'll be fairly chunky, each of them. Yeah. That's what at least the 40 hours would allow for.
I suspect it'd be more like Boulder, where you have a couple of run-ins with him and at the end have to deal with it.
Yeah. We'll see.
And then end up Odin's pissed and you got to fight Odin.
I think the way that they're setting up, because they haven't mentioned too much about Odin.
No.
I think they're setting up as Thor is the big bad guy.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be fairly early, not very early, but fairly early in the game. You go up against Thor and then you slay him and you're like, this has only been like 12 hours into the game. It's
This is super early on.
Is this the end of the game? It turns out there's a whole big backlog. There's a whole thing going on.
There is one itch I need
Odin even
scratched.
makes his fucking appearance.
There is one itch I badly need scratched
Go on.
in God of War. You know when you go down to Helheim, the realm of the dead? All the way at the end, once you beat that ogre thing,
Yeah.
you see Zeus in the clouds on the back, and I think it's Mimir says, "Don't go there, brother."
Yeah.
Like you can't go there.
You can't go there. You won't come back, innit? It's like
I need to know. That's an itch I desperately need scratched. Now, it was probably just a throwaway cool thing they thought they would do, like what happens to gods when they die kind of deal. But for 40 hours of gameplay, I feel like that can be touched on.
Yeah.
And if it's not, I'm going to... Once I get my 1v1 duels, I'm then going to go to Corey and be like, Corey, I need to know, what were you guys thinking?
You and Eric Williams, go on it.
Right. I'm with you. I think... It's not just because God of War 4 was the best game ever made.
I was gonna say, let us know if we're trying to square the circle, or if any of this actually sounds like it could be plausible. But
we both understand that it could have been a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
Right. They could have just not accidentally, but just everything lined up and it came out off perfectly.
Yeah.
Which was a worry for us when we heard The Last of Us 2 was being remade. Like The Last of Us 1 was so perfect, why even risk it?
Yeah.
And a bit of me sort of feels that.
Yeah, I get that feeling.
However, the team did so well.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to know what they're doing. The Last of Us 2 was great. I mean, everybody has mixed feelings on it, but many things you can say were done properly.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it'll be okay. I'm kind of optimistic.
But that burnt feeling that we had from Cyberpunk is just disappointing.
Cyberpunk's really ground my gears a bit and stopped me being as optimistic about these new games.
We tried so hard when we started this podcast, when we started this channel, I should say.
Yeah.
Sheps was always in the negative Nancy pot right in the corner. He's like,
Party
no,
pooper.
everything's bad, everything's shit. And I would like try and be like, no, don't have a
What about this?
Have a brighter outlook on things. Then slowly he came out of his corner and he became a bit more like.
Well, it's because I saw one of the greatest games of all time that has ever been made, Ghost of Tsushima, and that really brought light into my world.
Right, that's it.
Right.
And then Cyberpunk came out and was like, go back in the corner, back.
It just got one of those electroprods and pushed me back into the cage.
They're like, hey, everything, go away.
Right. Right. Also, do you know what it really was? It wasn't so much the game was bad. It was my relationship with Cyberpunk. I was lied to and cheated on. That's what it felt like.
You opened up your heart fully.
Right. I was finally ready to let down
Love
the
again.
walls. Yeah. And then they do me like that. They did me dirty. And I am a little bit worried about that. But I don't know. The real question is, just sort of getting, just in making things, is how many times when people make something amazing, do they know it's amazing at the time?
Yeah.
Versus how many times when people make garbage, do they know it's garbage at the time? Because I can believe that a lot of the time, like on set, and because everything's like out of order and stuff, that when you're making garbage, it can feel okay.
Yeah.
It feels like, yeah, that was a good performance, the lighting's right, the action makes sense, the script's good, and then when it all comes together, it's garbage.
Yeah.
But then again, I feel like, you know, with The Witcher, with a bunch of these things that you make it, you're like, no, we know. This is, like, we're going to apply for Season 2 before this thing even airs. Like, this thing is brilliant.
Yeah.
You know? The Witcher, the show. And God of War, I feel like, was kind of that same way. It's like, it just was right. And as long... Here's my question. Okay, this is my real question.
Go on.
How close to or better than God of War 4 does this game need to be for you? Because I'm not sure I can reasonably expect a game to be better.
That's the thing.
I don't think you can expect it to be better.
If
you set our sights on, oh my god, another one, and it's double the length, it's got to be better, I think we're going to get hurt.
Yeah, I'm tempering my expectations because I think we mentioned it was either the last podcast or the one before.
Yeah.
I was like, the last game, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, is the greatest game of all time. How can you ask someone to make better than the greatest ever? It's possible. Everything's possible.
Yeah.
It's very, very unlikely, and especially when there's so many moving parts.
I'm going to ask the game.
No, come on.
Yeah. I'm going to ask number 5, or God of War 2, however you want to look at it, to be nearly as good
Yeah.
and twice as long.
Yeah, as long as it's
I don't
close
even need
to
as
it.
good.
As long as it's close to it.
As good is asking for a miracle. I'll be honest, I don't think we actually deserve to get a game as good as God of War 4.
Yeah, what have we done? What have we done
no.
to deserve this?
It's not the right timeline. We've just had 2 years of pandemic. Trust me, like
Exactly.
we did. That's what this world deserves. Not a game that good. So I don't even think we can ask for as good. As good.
We gave it all to get Ryan Reynolds. That's what we did.
Right, exactly. That was all the world's karma.
Exactly. Gone, used, and we're not.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're happy.
Exactly.
With that.
Exactly. So I'm not even going to ask for as good, which means perfection.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask for really, really good. Like, I'm talking, not to always bang on about Ghost of Tsushima level, but with better story, or like Last of Us 2, something like that. Not as good, but very, very good. And twice as long. And I'll be happy, and I'm going to go into it not expecting it to be God of War 4.
Yeah.
And hopefully, my real deep down hope is that it is better.
I'll
jizz. Buckets. Buckets. I'll die from dehydration.
And we're going to be in the Lake of the Nine that's now frozen, so there is no liquid. Oh my God, you're going to be terrible.
Right. It's just going to be the fucking... Jormungandr's going to be like, this lake's changed consistency. What's up with this? Why is it so slimy?
The snow is slimy. I don't get it. It's so weird. Isn't it? I was just looking through. I was just pull up the characters that are going to be in the God of War Ragnarok game. On top of it being...
Also, what if Freya's the big bad?
That's just what I was going to say. So, I don't know if she's going to be the big bad, but Thor is one of the big bad guys. And he's there because he killed his kids.
Yeah.
He's pissed.
Yeah.
Freya is also pissed because he killed her
We
her
killed
son.
a lot of kids.
We killed a lot of kids. Kratos, you need to stop killing kids.
Right.
He's my idol. I'm going to go kill kids as well. And if I imagine Freya's going to be one of the earlier fights because that's where we left off from before.
Yeah.
So, say we kill her. That gives extra motivation to Thor.
Yeah.
Killed my mum.
Yeah.
And my kids.
Yeah. Wait.
Guy's
Thor's mom's Frigga.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my bad.
Not Freya.
Hold on a second. Am I getting this wrong?
I think they're 2 different...
Wait,
I'm pretty
no.
sure they're 2 different people. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I've just read here is former wife. So, former
Okay.
wife of Odin. So, still the daughter. So, it's not Thor's mum.
Yeah.
There you go. So, still, stepmom.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
We had great moments when she was stuck in the laundry bar.
Oh, God.
Come on now.
What
Anyway,
are you doing, Step Thor?
Still an Asgardian nonetheless, still. And then afterwards, presuming that we kill Thor as well,
Yeah.
the shit's just gonna mount. Is gonna mount for Odin to come
Right,
afterwards. You killed my former flame, who I was still very much in love with. My sons, my grandsons.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the rage that's building, and all of the Odin's ravens that I put everywhere that I had to kill.
Do you know how long it takes to make those freaking ravens?
In it, they're made of glass. Jesus Christ! I destroyed all of them for the platinum.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's going to be so much, and there's so many people we have to go meet along the way and fight along the way and somehow dispose of. Not all of them are going to be willing to talk to, and you'll be like, you know what? Let's talk about everything.
Here's the thing as well that people I don't think have considered, is that just because you rescue Tyr doesn't mean he's on Team Kratos.
That's the thing. Let's talk about that because he's alive.
Yes.
He's been burnt by gods many times.
Yes. He's also a god of war.
He's a god of war.
Yeah.
Is he just going to be like, cool, me and you, we're happy, we're done, we're gonna see
you
everything.
killed my brother and my nephews and my lover and my other nephew, and actually turned out that guy was my son.
All good.
All gravy, baby. Also because Frick, what is her name? The Greek goddess that we see a few times as Kratos in God of War 4. She she's the huntress, but she's also a god of war. I'm gonna Google it. I can't remember any of these guys' names. Hunter Lady. One sec.
Hunter Lady.
Yeah, it was. It's because it's not Ares. Ares is like the god of violence almost. And the other one is... God damn it. What is her name?
Talk amongst yourselves, lads.
Yeah.
By the way, it's probably a good time to mention we're doing an EGX meetup on the 9th of October. Link in the description. There'll be lots of details there. We're going to a gaming convention, play some games, meet up afterwards, have some food, have some fun, do a live podcast maybe. We'll see how that goes. Would you guys join us?
It's not. Is it Art? It's not Artemis.
It's in Landan.
One sec.
The World Serpent. No, it's not that.
God damn it! Why do I not know this? It doesn't matter. But basically, in a lot of these pantheons, there's almost two gods of war. Gods of war. Yeah. So like, in the Greek one, Ares is like the god of violence. Like he's the god of fighting.
Yeah.
But it's not Artemis. But
Athena.
Yeah, it might have been Athena.
Yeah.
Who's the god of like strategic warfare. They're two different kinds of fighting. And that god, whichever god is like the god of generals, if you will,
right,
is always much more cunning and much more dangerous than the god of like just pure violence.
Yeah.
Who in most of these pantheons is almost always looked down on as like all you do is fight. Like it's pretty base. It's like you got the god of fighting and the god of drinking. So they consider kind of the same. Whereas the more sophisticated, dangerous, cunning gods are like your Odins, your Zeuses. Yeah, exactly. So I get the impression that Tyr is likely to be very cunning, and
I could agree with that. And also we need to know as well, because like we saw from all of the panels that we saw all in the game and whatnot, that he's been to Kratos' land with all of his gods, and knows of Kratos because he even had his Omega symbol there. So that's going to be interesting as well. Like,
with Zeus,
what does that? What's the play? What's the thing there? You know,
because this is the thing. We assumed from the panels that he'd gone and like befriended these other.
Yes.
There's no telling that he befriended them. He could have gone and fricked them all up, just not killed anyone, and been like, "Yo, I wanted to come and fight and see who was strongest." Turns out it's me, bitch.
I'm the strongest.
Right. Or he could have gone and befriended. Turns out, oh, you were really good friends with Zeus and Artemis and all this. Yeah, they're all dead, blood. Oh shit. Well, I had a thing with Athena.
Yeah.
Like she dead. Oh yeah, gone. I'm gonna have to beat you. Right. So we have
and he's
no
giant.
Idea.
He's Lady D's thing.
Right. So like we have no idea how that's going to go. Like presumably early on he'll be friendly, but there's nothing to say he'll stay that way.
Yeah.
So we don't know. The ball's in their court.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good with fondling balls. So they can juggle many balls at a time. So
agreed. There is also another character who's new to this, who's going to add a whole thing to it, because then it proves that we also have to explore the Loki side of this whole thing.
Yes,
right now we're thinking about just Kratos and whatnot, but there's a whole Loki side to this. I'm going to butcher the name. Angraboa?
Okay.
That one. It's Loki's wife, Loki's mate.
Yeah.
Her existence just means that we're going to massively explore Atreus' side, his giant side, to know what's going to happen there.
Is that the Dryad girl?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's going to be super interesting as well to find out what that's all about.
Yeah.
Loki as well in the trailer was saying how like he needs to go out and find what it means to be Loki. That means we're going to go out and hopefully find that out as well.
I really would like to spend some time in that in Jotunheim. Yeah. That would be cool.
That would be
also, we spent a whole game trying to get there.
Yeah.
We can't just be like, cool, we put some ashes on a mountain. Bye.
Guys.
That was cool. Anyway.
It's like we're in this brand new realm. We spent all the times in all the other ones. This one won't spend any time.
Yeah, frick it.
There's dead bodies everywhere. Look.
Right.
It's giant bodies.
It would be. I mean, we need to spend some time with finding out what it means to be Loki and what he's supposed to do. And if Kratos is going to upset Ragnarok, i.e. killing Thor before Jormungandr can, then what does that mean for Loki's future and his relationship with this person? What's her name?
Angraboa.
Yeah.
That's do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually take my time and I want to actually read up extensively on both Ragnarok and also the God of War version of Ragnarok, because obviously it differs just a little bit from it's a video game, you know. So
I'll tell you this: if you go and find like real OG stories from like the real Greek myths and the real like myths from the stuff, it's not PG.
Nah.
Like Zeus be fucking everything.
Yeah.
And so does Loki.
He comes down and is like, okay, I'm gonna fuck all of you first.
How do you think the Minotaur exists, bruv? Not joking. Yeah.
And there's a Minotaur in this game as well.
Yeah, Zeus be fucking everything. Same as Loki. Like, Loki's known to, like, his kids are Jormungandr, Fenrir, a giant wolf, and like an 8-legged horse. That's what he makes. Those his babies. So
Your sperm be fucked up.
So it's not PG. It's cool. It's very cool, but it's not PG. Also, Thor is like pretty violent. Not like he's not the MCU PG-13 Thor. You know,
My guy's beating shit up and drinking and eating.
yeah, like it's rough.
Yeah.
So I mean, look it up. It's cool. It's very cool stuff.
I think I will. And also, it'll be interesting to see the similarities and the parts where they differ
Yeah.
and things like that. I think it'll be quite cool. Yeah, so that's all the stuff that we got there. I'm thinking if there's anything else that we should really cover with this.
Basically, the question is: do you think 40 hours of another game set in this world? We won't call it God of War because we don't know it's going to be at that level. Is a good thing or a bad thing? I think you and I think overall good thing.
Yeah.
Santa Monica make very high quality stuff. They seem to know that their product is not a game; it's a story.
Yeah.
And you tell it through a game.
It would seem like such a rookie move as well to overstay your welcome for that long.
Yeah.
If that was the case.
Yeah.
I feel like the far more likely scenario is they wrote out a story, they wrote out where they wanted to go, where they wanted to end.
and they were like, shit.
This thing is still meaty. Anything else we cut is bad. It's going to take away from the story. Fuck it, let's just make this. I feel like that's the more logical conclusion to what happened there.
Also, if you're going to make a game that long, and you are doing what we're saying, which is you trim all the fat and you're like, nah, this thing's still meaty, just make it. A lot of people will go, well, we'll make it DLC.
Yeah.
But they're not doing that.
Yeah.
So, is that good or bad? I think that's a good sign.
I agree.
So, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I'm excited, though.
I am excited. I'm excited as well for it. It's
Well, you're excited for God of War?
it's just straight. I know it's.
You don't really mention it.
I don't mention it. I don't. I did ask the guys.
What do you think? Will Kratos lift Mew Mew?
That's a good question.
Because he's not like worthy, but he is pure. Do you know what I mean?
It's going to be an MCU moment where,
And he can lift the axe.
in the
But the axe was
background.
made by the guys that made Jonathan. So
in the background, Atreus is going to pick it up and he's going to throw it and then pull it back and it's going to be like, "Oh my God, Captain America!"
maybe, maybe we'll get an answer to that one question where there'll be like a lift, you know, like a wooden pallet lift, and he'll put Jonathan on it, and then we
drop
can
it.
and see if someone can lift the lift.
There you go. I'll answer the age-old question.
All right.
Age-old question. Is an elevator worthy?
It's a good question. It's a good question.
It's like, I can't lift Mew Mew, but if I put him on a saucer, then I can lift the saucer.
Okay, yeah, you broke my thing because I was thinking. My thinking was. Thor can stand in an elevator, right? And this thing has the weight of 10 neutron stars.
Yeah.
But it's his worth that makes you able to lift it.
Yeah.
But if you put it on the floor, it doesn't go through the ground. It
Yeah.
just rests there. And lifting it like sword in the stone, it's your worth that allows you to take it out.
Exactly.
But then if you put it on the saucer, that totally invalidates the point. Shit. This is much more complicated than I thought now. Damn it!
Just put it on a thin piece of paper.
Yeah, so, paperweight. That's not a paperweight. It doesn't work. Look.
It doesn't work.
Thing weighs nothing.
A gust of wind blew the paper and then it just flew off.
Oh god! Imagine what happens if you put it on, like, because I think in canon Thor's put it on Hulk and he couldn't get up.
Yeah.
But if you put that on
he caught it and then when he was on the ground,
Right.
it was like, oh.
But if you put that on a person, does it just pancake them?
That's the thing. He's done it. He's done it to Loki, and Loki didn't.
He's done it to Loki and he's done it to Captain Marvel. But the thing
Yeah.
is, those are hyper powerful things of existence.
I'm telling you, I think it's literally like it's because it's magic. It's whatever surface it goes on. It can't be moved from that surface.
Right.
But what if the surface moves?
Yeah.
Strange.
It's very tough. Also, there's a little bit of me that wanted to see in a Justice League version. You know, there's that minute where Darkseid almost gets the ring.
The Green Lantern. ring.
Yeah. What happened? You know, could Thanos pick up Jonathan?
Ooh.
Because that would change the game immensely.
Yes.
Although they kept changing the rules in the MCU anyway.
Especially with time travel and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like Hela could hold it, and she wasn't worthy.
Yeah. And she destroyed it as well. Like,
Right. And then Odin says it was never that gave you power. It was just it was to focus it. I don't know, man. Too many rules.
Too many rules. Our guys over in the Discord server wrote in to tell us some of their theories and things that they're looking forward to in Ragnarok.
Gaming.
Just like you guys can by clicking the link in the description. It's a great place to be. Okay, I'm going to put this down because it's making way too much noise. There you go. BB, you can hang out right there. Jordan O'Toole, I wrote morning in this post when I posted it in the afternoon, and he's like, morning? The bastard. He has to call me out. He has to. Lucas says, Kratos is Balder, which will be why he survives.
I hate you so much.
Oh my god. Sean, when there's a new Thor in town, he says, my theory about Ragnarok. Kratos will die in this game by the end, like the prophecy says in the game, and it will continue as Atreus and will have a Leviathan axe and a magic bow.
But the thing is, we didn't see Kratos dying. We saw Kratos like lying down wounded or something, and something coming out of him, right?
Yeah.
Or was it coming out of... Anyway.
Coming out of his mouth and also out of Atreus' mouth.
So
as
we
well.
don't actually know that he was dead.
And people are saying that's the birth of the world serpent as well. So it's time
but we
loop
don't
is
know
very
if it was,
confusing.
yeah, there's a weird time loop thing going. So we don't know if he dies. But we know he and Atreus do a thing. It's tough.
I think we'll meet Angraboda, the girl who was at the end of the trailer near the beginning of the game, and Atreus will fall in love with her, but then Thor kills her halfway through the game, and Atreus will get angry, obviously, which will activate his god part of Atreus, which we saw a little bit of in God of War 2018. We did, and he got very ill after that.
He did.
Yeah. I believe at the end of the game we will go to a new place, considering it's Ragnarok, and the Norse world will be destroyed. Not sure what place though. I would have said Egypt, but we had a little bit of that in the comics. But I guess it'll be cool to play as Atreus in the next game and hearing about Kratos' time there from the Egyptian gods and the NPCs.
Are those comics canon?
I don't know. That's
because
a
I
good
haven't
point.
read them, and I don't know if they would be considered canon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the storytelling mechanic that I quite like, is learning about a character from the stuff that either they can no longer do or that you never got to experience them do. So like I spoke when we did my MHA, My Hero Academia, we learned a lot about how strong All Might was by Deku realizing the things he must have been doing to move normally in the world, and how strong he, normally I would have finished this in 2 punches, but it's taken me over 300, and by the stuff he isn't able to do, we're learning how strong he actually would have been at his peak. It's kind of cool to learn. It would have been interesting to learn about Kratos as a man and father from people that knew him and liked him, which is unusual for Kratos because he breaks stuff. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if the comics are considered canon. Also, I feel like there's a huge audience that don't know the comics, they only know the game.
Yeah.
So then...
Back a little bit to the previous question where we were talking about how this is going to be the end of the Norse Saga. Do you think that this is the end of God of War?
I feel like they would have said this is the end of Kratos' journey.
They said it very specifically, didn't they? They said the end of the Norse Saga. And then that's why it made me think about the whole, maybe we'll go to Egypt, maybe we'll go somewhere else, something like that.
And I'm okay to do that.
Yeah.
As long as they give us a good reason and a good story. I don't want to play more... I don't want more of Atreus and Kratos if it's just to give me more of Atreus and Kratos.
Yeah. I can't see them ending it because...
It prints money, for one.
They've made this IP that... Providing the next one goes well, or who bloody knows? Could they fucking surpass 2018 God of War?
Mate, like I said, I'm asking for really good.
Yeah.
Not even as good.
I'm not even asking for more. I'm asking
to be honest, I'll say this. If it's as good and double the time, it's better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If it's
even more
better than that and double the time, like I said, die of dehydration. But then where do you go from that? At that point, you got to say, like, look, seriously, the chances of you beating that or even coming close to that again,
astronomical.
Just end it here, man.
Just play the lottery. Fuck it.
Right, yeah, it's for real.
I'm saying if the first game was great and it's become this name now. When you think PlayStation, you think Kratos, you think God of War. If the next one is good, or if somehow better, then there's no way you can let God of War die like that. Maybe you let the series stay dormant for a little bit.
Yeah, you put Santa Monica on a different title.
They're working on another one right now, so maybe they go to that.
The whole team goes to that. You bang it out, and in like 3 years' time, at another EGX or Gamescom, we just hear bum bum bum.
There you go,
dude. Yeah.
So I don't think it's the end.
I agree.
I don't know where they could go from after this second one, if it's the end. And
I also don't think I'll play an Atreus game.
Yeah, I think while I think there's a lot of cool story to be told with him, a lot of it is cool because it's attached to his father.
For sure.
And the parts that made me cry, the parts that made me feel stuff,
it's
now being
Kratos,
a father, it was the father-son aspect of it.
Yeah.
So without that, it's going to be next to impossible to feel attached to.
I think if they even attempt it, we'll have a long stretch in the game, and I don't mean like 10 hours, but just like a quite an in-depth play as only Atreus. Like they'll get separated and we'll play as just Atreus for a while, and then they'll get a read for how people felt that, or they will do a DLC of just Atreus and see how that does. That's the way I would do it. I wouldn't just go to an Atreus game. Anyway, God of War. Hyped.
God of War.
I'm cautiously optimistic because I want more of it, but again, I'm not asking for it to be as good as 4. Just really good, you know? Because even coming close to God of War 4, the odds, I mean, nothing. I've got a few games that are close.
Yeah.
And those things are in their own right masterpieces. Like Ghost of Tsushima, as an example, because I always talk about it. One of the reasons it's so good is because Sucker Punch were nowhere near that quality.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, incredible dev house. But these are the guys that make Infamous, man. And Infamous is great, it's good fun, but it's not that. It's nowhere near God of War. And then you come with Ghost of Tsushima, it's that contrast. That's huge, enormous leap to quality. That's one of the reasons. But in comparison to story, not even close.
Yeah.
You know?
Agreed.
So...
how nice God of War talk.
Yes.
Maybe, possibly the last one for a while, because I know the past couple of
I think
episodes,
that's the way to do it.
We've done a few episodes where we're like that. So a little bit of time will pass. We'll get back to it whenever we can. And hopefully by then I'll be a Norse mythology expert.
That's right.
Just like Isak is and T is and whatnot.
Yes.
They're all experts. All right. Bro, our next topic.
Yes.
Quantic Dream
Yes.
might be making a Star Wars game. That's
Yeah.
the rumor heading round. So this whole thing started apparently from a YouTuber called Gadzoz, something like that. Said there was a rumor going around that Quantic Dream is working on a Star Wars game. Not many people paid too much attention to that. However, Tom, what's his name? Tom Henderson.
Okay.
Tom
I don't know, it's a guy from like Magnum PI back in the 80s and shit. Yeah.
Okay. Tom Henderson posted a picture, just a picture, of one of the androids from Detroit Become Human, and then a PNG Star Wars lightsaber going across his face.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
And that was it. That was enough to say, okay, Quantic Dream are working on a Star Wars game. To be fair, Tom Henderson, he is a famous leaker. He has a lot of... a lot of well-known Tom Selleck. Oh, I know him. That's some gorgeous chest there. I'm going to put that up on screen for everyone to see. Tom Selleck. Tom Henderson, he is a well-known leaker. He usually leaks Battlefield stuff.
Yes.
But he's been very accurate with everything that he said.
He's a pretty reliable source, yeah.
So, reliable source right here. How do you feel about Quantic Dream possibly making a Star Wars game? Did you play Detroit Become Human?
No.
There you go.
I know it's well regarded. I know it's on the PS Plus collection, which that alone tells me it's very high quality. And you've spoken very highly of it. Katie and a bunch of the peeps in the fam have. I think the most interesting thing is that we've had a real glut of Star Wars stuff, mainly because there was, I think, the title and the ownership of the IP was tied up in some very heavy paperwork.
EA had everything, and then
EA had all
no
of
one
it.
could touch it. No one could touch it. And then once it was gone, it's like floodgates open. There you go.
Right, and it's weird because EA did a really good job with staying true to the IP. Like Battlefront 2 was so good, except they EA'd it, and the game didn't work for 6 months because buried deep in its core was this idea of trying to just rinse you for money.
Yeah.
And I think that, thankfully, is the thing that's kicked this off. And they said, okay, yeah, KOTOR, that can go to these guys, and
Yeah.
I am concerned that Star Wars is one of those titles, and we've seen it from the most recent trilogy, where they'll okay a lot of stuff that maybe they shouldn't. Switching directors halfway through a trilogy, and
that's the thing. Disney haven't always got the strongest hold, especially when it comes to Star Wars.
yeah,
They seem to
specifically.
How can you do so great with the MCU and then just completely shit the bed when it comes to Star
Right.
Wars? Yeah.
But historically, the Star Wars games have been really good. The pinnacle of Star Wars games, the Phantom Menace OG game.
Pinnacle.
But like games like KOTOR, that game's like almost 20 years old.
Yeah.
And it's still talked about. It still comes up in discussions.
Yeah. We're getting the remake as well.
So maybe the thing I really want is that Ragtag Amy Hennig game.
Yeah.
That's the game I really want.
Can't think about any Star Wars game now without thinking about the possibility of what could have been, right?
But the
It's
thing
really
is,
annoying.
it's in a weird way, it's kind of what could be. Because Amy Hennig is a free radical right now. She
Yeah.
can do whatever she wants. She's gold.
And it turns
the
out she's
IP's
still working.
She is working.
I thought she was burned and she was just never going to work again. Because
It did seem like we didn't hear from her for like
Yeah.
3 years or something. But then, she's attached to. She wrote Forspoken. I'm sorry. And now the IP's up for grabs. It's totally possible that someone at Ragtag goes, "Hey, you know what? Let's see what Amy's up to. Let's repitch this."
Yeah.
They had a good idea. It got somewhere in the process. Well, now that IP's loosened up, they've loosened the reins on it. Maybe we can make this thing happen.
I only hope, and there's no way we would know this, I only hope it's not like EA owns the rights to the IP or something like that. The story.
It could be that,
It's our intellectual property because we paid you to make it and you made it under our... it could be that.
That could well be the case.
Which would suck.
That would suck.
I am kind of excited. When I first heard it, I was like, I don't know... It could make for some great set pieces. The big thing that Quantic Dream used to do is QTE sort of like cutscenes and involved stuff, and it made for really good cinematic moments and whatnot. And the thing they were also known for as well was sort of choose your own adventure type things, where you could go down this path and down that thing and see this outcome. However, apparently this game is going to be more traditional. They say it's not going to be like their normal style. So it's kind of hard to get a read on it then. It's like, well, if it's not like what we know you for, then what is it?
Yeah, what can we expect?
At least visually, it should look good because their games visually do look good.
Yeah, they look visually good. But so did Jedi Fallen Order. It looked good.
And to be honest, you put a lightsaber in anything, it's going to look good.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's the thing, is it's going to be very hard to get things wrong if you follow the basic recipe, right? Space wizards with laser swords.
Yeah.
Get that in. For me, the big letdown for Jedi Fallen Order, so I didn't care about Cal Kestis. I just had no interest in him or his crew.
He's a soulless ginger.
He's a soulless ginger, and I wasn't interested in his crew. And there's just nothing for me to latch onto, because ultimately, the movies, we follow a protagonist, whether it's Anakin, whether it's Luke or Rey, or really Kylo. We're following someone's journey, and I want someone to get invested in. And they didn't really give me that in Jedi Fallen Order. But it looked great. It was fun to play.
Yeah.
So every Star Wars game we've got really has been good. And obviously we got Lego Star Wars coming in.
It's going to be a banger.
That's what, like 6 months away?
Something like that. I think it's early 2022.
Early 2022 they said. So that's going to be amazing. That really... This is the real problem, is that could be the act to follow. And people are like, oh, it's Lego. No, you don't get it. It's Lego. That's the problem.
Let me explain it to you. It's Lego.
Yeah, but it's Lego. No. It's Lego.
Oh dear God!
Right.
What have I put myself into?
So I do think there is a huge scope here, because Star Wars. I'm more of a movie guy.
Yeah.
That's really where I know Star Wars from. But there is a huge wealth of the story that has not been told in the movies or even in the shows. Like the shows just follow like what happens in the Clone Wars and stuff. You know, there's like Darth Revan and Darth Vader and I want to.
Wait, Darth Vader?
I'll play a Vader game.
Yeah.
Or a Vader DLC or a Vader mini game.
Do you know what I need to finish? I played. There was 3 episodes of a VR game called Vader Immortal.
Yeah.
I played episode 1 and it was great.
Yeah.
And I'd never played the other 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Let's get on that shit.
Like I know shit. I think you could make a game. I think I could pitch, and at least in terms of story be involved. Like I can't code or anything, but
Yeah.
I could do a Rise of Darth Sidious. Now I want to do a Darth Plagueis the Wise, where he finds what's Palpatine's name? His first name? Neve.
Yes.
Sheev Palpatine.
Sheev.
Where he finds this young kid and like brings him up, and then what happens? Like how does this incredibly powerful Sith stay under the radar? Let's tell that story. And then, was Anakin a spontaneous birth? Did Plagueis make him? Did Sheev make him?
We know what happened. We know.
Right. The only thing we really know is that Padme died of sadness.
Yeah, that's the only thing we... How could she die of sadness when the robots were doing that?
Exactly. It's
So
because
calming.
Palpatine siphoned her life. Besides the point that there's a huge wealth of stories that are gone untold. I want more from Plagueis. I want to know about Palpatine. You know, I want to know about Plagueis. I want to know about Revan. I want to know about, is it Darth Bane, I think? There's a bunch of these old school Sith stories. There's a bunch of like Grey Knights. Let's do just the Jedi when they begin. You know, there's a bunch of stuff you could do. And there's a wealth of books and knowledge and canon already out there. Also, there's a bunch of successor stories, like Boba Fett had a kid. There's a few different solos out there, because Han and Leia had a couple of kids, not just one. You know, or what about Kylo's story? I want to play more as Kylo. Kylo's one of my favorite. He's the Anakin we deserved. He's the Anakin we needed and never got.
Yeah.
Kylo's brilliant. Kylo's the real main character of the recent trilogy, and he's great. And he gets a bit pathetic at the end, but a real redemption arc. You know, I freaking love that character. There's so much cool stuff we could do and we could show. Anyway, I could pitch 100 different stories that I think would be worthy of their own standalone, like 15-hour game.
Well, that's a good thing then. I mean, at least there's a lot of variety for these guys to choose from. And
Right.
hopefully they pick
They'll
something
do the
great.
same shit every single time though, because they always do.
Probably. There's nothing really more I've got to say about this other than
I'm excited.
At least it's more Star Wars. Star Wars is great.
It's hard to mess up that recipe, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to really try to EA it, and then you'll lose.
You really do.
Something interesting as well that I forgot to mention when we talked about it on the last podcast. You know the KOTOR remake, the Knights of the Old Republic remake. Originally, it was made by BioWare,
Yes.
and BioWare have since kind of gone to shit recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've been actually going quite far downhill.
Yes.
Jeff Keighley reached out to BioWare to ask if they were involved in the remake.
Yeah.
And they gave an answer. What did they give?
Was it an answer or was it like a suit crafted PR response?
I'm gonna read it out to you.
Okay.
As long as I can find it.
Okay.
Keighley,
Yeah.
BioWare.
Man, that is a picture from
Okay.
years ago that pops up when you search it. Isn't it?
Yeah, so a much younger him. Okay, so he goes, I asked BioWare and EA if they were involved in the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake announced yesterday, and I just received this response. And this is the response. I'm going to read it word for word.
Okay.
We are proud of our long-standing collaboration with Lucas Games, which will continue for years to come. Our
Yeah.
talented teams have created some of the most successful games in the history of Star Wars franchise, including Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Battlefront, Star Wars Galaxy's Hero, Star Wars The Old Republic, and Star Wars Squadrons. We love Star Wars and look forward to creating more experiences for players to enjoy.
Are you involved in the project?
That one they didn't answer the question. So no? Anyway, apparently that means no.
Yeah, I say that means no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, I guess. They're
I
not going to
agree.
fuck this over.
I agree.
But I love that response. It's like, okay, I didn't actually... You know what? Never mind.
Know what I asked? Know what I asked.
That's a weird thing right there.
That's Typical Suits. People think I'm joking. I really have a beef with Suits. Suits are an issue. They're a real problem. And then when you look at the world's problems or problems in entertainment or anything, you can trace it back to some suit in a boardroom.
Exactly.
Every time.
Exactly.
Every time.
Our next topic.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a short one right now.
Okay.
So, do you remember there was that issue with the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, PlayStation 3 that had this thing called a CMOS battery?
Yeah.
That basically, for those of you guys that don't know, it's a battery inside the console that is responsible for keeping the internal clock of the console.
Yeah.
And the way it works is that it talks to the PSN network.
Yeah.
And make sure everything's lined up so there isn't any trickery. People try to get around this or disable this so they can get pirated games and things like that. And if everything's lining up, everything's A-OK.
Yeah.
You can use all the games you want, stuff like that.
It's sort of like...
It's like a DRM type feature.
Yeah, and to give you an example, hypothetically, were you to download a product from the internet, sell the 7 Seas to get a piece of software that you didn't want to pay the full ridiculous price for, but it's an older version, you could like set your computer's time to like, I don't know, think that it was 2008 or whatever, 2011, right? So it thinks it can use this thing. It doesn't call for updates.
Yes.
I don't know that this is done. I just hear. Same sort of thing.
Yes.
And this battery would basically die, and it's really hard to replace.
Exactly. It's especially if it dies, and say you don't know about it or you don't know how to change it or anything like that.
Functionally bricks your console.
Exactly. You can't use any of your digital content. You can't use any of your games. It doesn't work on anything.
And there's not many places that like
we'll open it up nowadays, especially and whatnot. It's kind of a niche thing. Now, I didn't see it as personally a big thing for me because I'm one of the people that moves on with the generations, and by the time that happens, the console's long old and whatnot.
Also, I'm a person that keeps my consoles. It's never been an issue for me.
Exactly. So it's a rare thing, but it was an issue and people were reporting it. Some people got really heated about it. I know Diogo was heated about it. And I was like, cool. I mean, it's not a thing that I'm personally in, but whatever. However, in the latest update for the PlayStation 4, the 9.0 update, apparently they've completely fixed it. Cool. I don't know how it circumvents it somehow, but people are saying that people who know how to do stuff, they've removed the CMOS battery, put a dead one in there so they know it isn't working. The internal clock is way off. Everything is fucked up. And all of their content still works. Their digital games can still be downloaded. You can even claim trophies. However, the time that you earn them is blank somehow.
Okay,
but that's just the thing.
Who cares?
So exactly. Yeah. But everything still works. So that's great news for people out there.
That is great news. Doesn't feel like an issue for me.
Yeah, but didn't feel like an issue for me. But at least people are getting that. Our next topic. Neil Druckman will be directing one of the episodes in the Last of Us TV show, which actually is great news. The Uncharted movie famously doesn't have anybody who worked on the game attached to it, which is so strange. When
that's
it's
not a good
thing.
sign.
It's like going,
Naughty Dog made 4 titles.
We're gonna make a Game of Thrones TV show, and we're not gonna at all look at the source material.
Yeah,
what kind of nonsense?
George R.R. Martin for any input whatsoever
in it. So ridiculous.
We'll make the Harry Potter movies, but we're not gonna look at the books.
No. But however, they seem to be doing it completely opposite with this one.
Yeah.
They are apparently in talks with the Neil Druckman and there was another co-writer that I forgot her name.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
Apparently been talked to so they can get everything down correctly and get everything authentic, and they've actually signed him on to direct an episode. That's cool. Which they've got many directors for many episodes.
Don't know, but especially with The Last of Us 2, Neil Druckmann was heavily involved in the actual creation of the mocap, let's say, which is where direction is needed. Was there on set all the time, so he's actually directed the movie already. I say the show. So he's got directing experience. It's not like it'll be his first day ever on a set. Making a game's totally different to making a movie. Not that different. No. Especially if you go and look behind the scenes of like a lot of movies, like say Endgame, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Watch the behind the scenes of that. It's just all blue screen or green screen, I should say.
So you need a hell of a direction for that.
So it's the exact same.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Hopefully he.
Slowly my excitement's getting higher for The Last of Us.
Yeah, I feel that.
There was a bit of controversy at the beginning because they were like, I don't know where this rumor came from, and maybe he just went for an interview, an audition, I should say. Who was the guy I've forgotten his name. Was it Mahershala Ali?
Might have been.
Mahershala Ali was apparently in the running for being Joel in the TV show, and then it turned out that was completely false.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know what was going on, and then they hired what's his name? What's the guy's name now?
The guy. He's also from Game of Thrones.
The Mandalorian, everything like that. I've forgotten his name now. Big name actor. And I was like, it was a rocky start, and it made me think. I was like,
they're just going to go for.
Why am I excited for a video game adaptation of something? It's always going to be crap. It's always going to be crap. And then the Nathan Drake Uncharted quote from Tom Holland came out, where it was like, I was thinking about my muscles. I was thinking about how I looked on set, and I was like, that's not Nathan Drake.
That's not the way it's supposed to go. Now,
so,
a little bit was like maybe it's a bad quote, and like they asked him a very specific question and stuff, but it doesn't sound right. Also, one of those concerns which I had when we found out the casting, or like Mahershala Ali is in the running for Joel, and I think recently Daniel Craig's tweeted this, which is don't shoehorn stuff into an IP. Make new IPs for stuff. Like don't gender bend don't make Superman a girl. Tell Kara's story.
Yeah,
right. Or don't make Clark Kent black. Tell Calvin Ellis' story. Yeah. Which I agree with, and I was a little bit worried about this as well, which is like Joel is a white guy canonically, and the guy who's in it is what is he?
What Joel is, or the guy that
the guy playing it is
I think he's Latino. I think
he's Latino,
Hispanic or something like that.
And I know, like, don't think that's a huge stretch anyway, because he's in Texas. But like, if it had been Mahershala Ali, it's not to say he's not good enough, but it's like it doesn't fit the
Pedro Pascal,
which no, that's a pretty white name.
Is a Chilean American.
Chilean. So it's not that I'm like, oh, he shouldn't be Mexican or Chilean or whatever. It's like, but canonically he's white.
Yeah.
Right? And I also think that I'm trying to think, like, Black Panther shouldn't be played by Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Like,
it's good that you mentioned that thing, because two things have happened recently, and it sort of restored my faith in like Hollywood and a little bit. Because normally Hollywood is like pandering and a lot of stupidity to try and win internet points and things like that with people, or win pandering points.
Win points from people that don't buy their product as well. So I'm going to go and see it.
So stupid. But the Daniel Craig thing that came out, the large majority of people actually took it on board.
Yeah.
And it shows that Hollywood do think normally sometimes. Maybe not the suits at the top because they're idiots, but at least the people that are creating do that. And also the daughter of Lana Lang in the Superman Lois TV show, she recently posted a video saying like natural diversity in things is the way to go always, because forced diversity causes stereotypes and actually hurts what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, it's awful.
And I was like, how is it all of a sudden that Hollywood's become good?
And it's a real point, because I've said this. I think a lot of people miss the point, which is that when I'm saying like don't make this character black or that, like stick to the source material, it's not because like, oh, you're racist. No, the actual racists are the people making the casting decisions. They're picking the people specifically based on their race, rather than finding the best person that fits the character.
Yeah,
right.
It's racism thinly veiled with progressiveness.
Yeah,
they're like, we're so progressive.
It's racism of low expectations. It's saying this. It's saying two things. This actor couldn't get a role good enough otherwise, so I'm going to give it to them because they're black or whatever.
So I pity this black person, or pity this other person.
Also, it's saying that we don't have enough faith in writing a good enough story to like the Calvin Ellis thing. Don't make Clark Kent white. Make Calvin Ellis. Yeah. It's an incredible story. It would be make Michael B. Jordan. Yeah. Like make that I want to see. Why? Because it's a real black story. That's why Miles makes sense and making Pete black wouldn't. Yeah. Right? Tell a great story that is different.
Same thing the other way as well. Like Miles Morales being white would not work.
It wouldn't work.
Stupid.
It's stupid. Yeah. And the thing that they don't get is that it fails because you shoehorn in something that doesn't fit. And the real racism is them saying, well, they won't buy a black Superman, nude black Kryptonian. We have to make it Superman. Otherwise, because black stuff doesn't sell. Female protagonists don't sell.
I was just going to say that. The worst part is that they put it on us. They put it on us.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There are idiots out there. They're racist. They're sexist. They're all pleasant. But those people are idiots. Stop focusing on them.
Yeah.
They put it on us. They're like, Gamers won't buy a game that has a girl in
no
it.
one liked Lara Croft. No one liked Samus Aran. No one likes Peach. No one likes... I mean, are you kidding?
Well, gamers don't like it, so what can we do, eh? What can we do?
It's
Anyway,
ridiculous.
we're a little bit off track there,
Sorry,
but it was an important topic, though.
Yeah, and it's good that it is good that a lot of people are coming out and saying like it's not that diversity is bad. It's that forcing stuff in so you can tick boxes is bad, and it cheapens the product.
Exactly.
And you end up with a shit story like Power. Did you watch that show Power?
I watched the first episode, loved it, and then somehow I didn't watch the rest.
Right, but like, I'll tell you what, this is the best way to do it. Brooklyn Nine-Nine does this perfectly. Captain Holt is a black gay man. Do you know how many times it comes up? Only whenever it's relevant.
Yeah.
Because it's never relevant most of the time. It doesn't matter that he's black. It doesn't matter that he's gay until we're doing stuff with his husband.
Yeah, and then it's great.
It's amazing. I love
they do
Captain
it so great.
Yeah, it's done so well. And no one addresses it like, oh, look at our black gay captain. No, he's just your captain. And he's also black and gay and whatever.
Hello, dear. This is your husband, Captain Raymond Holt.
I love it so much. He's such a great character. He's so good.
Because I imagine him at home by himself with his husband. It's just like, I'm about to have sex with you. Me, Captain Raymond Holt.
It's so good.
Apparently the last season is out, and apparently it ended perfectly. I haven't watched it yet.
I need to see
speaking of which, I'm getting tons of...
why are you still getting Deathloop ads?
Deathloop adverts everywhere.
Also,
you cannot escape it.
Deathloop's a really good example of it.
It
never once occurred to me that the characters are black.
I didn't think about it until right when we was talking about it.
Which that's the way it should be.
Both of the main characters are black. Everyone just loves it because it's a great game with great characters in it.
Finn as well. I never really cared that or noticed that he's black. He's just Finn.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
I want space wizards.
Yeah.
I don't care what color their skin is. There's a literal green alien right here and a dude with tentacles on his face. I have very mixed feelings about.
One thing I do want to say, seeing as we're on the topic of black race and how other people act and stuff like that, my stance has always been, I don't want to focus on the negativity and stuff like that. I want to lead by example. I've said many times how Superman's like my hero, my model.
Your chosen hero, yeah.
Exactly. It's the person who I strive to be like, because he leads by example.
Yeah, and he's a freaking illegal alien, bruv.
That as well.
Illegal immigrant is what he is.
I love illegal immigrants. No, but lead by example.
Yeah.
Be better and only hang out with people that are better. And then eventually those other people would be like a twig on a branch just getting no nutrients. It would dry off and die. Just forget about those, and that's the way to live.
That's the way to do it.
Don't focus on the bad shit, focus on the good shit.
Also, look, Deathloop, you make a good story with compelling characters. No one really cares what color they are. Now, they make a Deathloop movie and they cast white people, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, pissed off.
That's not how you do that.
Yeah.
Except they
but he's the better role for the... No, there was already established.
Yeah, it's established. They look like this. Like a black Obi-Wan. Would Idris Elba be... but he's my...
Shit, he would be a good one.
He would be great. He would be great, but he's the wrong guy.
Imagine him in a robe. Oh, God, it's good.
These are not the droids you're looking for. like, would he be great? Yes. Is it appropriate for the role? No.
Yeah. Speaking of which...
But he's also a good... You're going to struggle to not put him in any male role. I'm going to want him, but he's not right for everything, you know? But James Bond would be cool. I would like that if James Bond is an identity. You know, we've said this before, if James Bond never dies, because it's just it's a persona. Like, that I don't feel is shoehorning him in.
No.
You know, so like I think people, it's very easy for someone to maybe, let's say this is the part of the podcast, they come in at the premiere and they see this and they're like, these guys don't like stuff. No, I'm okay with if it fits. If you shoehorn it in, if you shove it in to make a point, no. But you know, there are easy ways to work around some of these things. Anyway,
I was just looking at the scores for Death Stranding Director's Cut. 87 currently at the moment with 44
87,
critics.
but how many reviews?
That's the thing. It's 44 critic reviews, and they are critic reviews, so bear salt.
Yeah, we can't trust critics.
But that is 5 points more currently than the previous Death Stranding. So I'm very interested to see what happens.
When's that coming out? Soon, right?
Did I mention at the beginning my theory?
Yes,
I did. So if that happens, another dub for the Ed boy.
Another dub.
I
love that you're starting to pick up the briefs.
Embraced it. Listen, that one's awful. You can't say that.
That I hate. Also, every time Mark calls it Tsar. Let's get some Tsar. No, it's pizza, bruv. Not Tsar. It's not a Tsar. It's a pizza.
Should we pick up a slice of Tsar?
I'll slap you.
Choke you.
I've killed people for less.
We got two minor topics to talk about.
Just one thing with Death Stranding.
Go on.
I haven't played the game. There was a point where I gave up on it.
Yeah.
I did go to like watch the cinematics because there are people out there which I think we've been considering doing that. It's just hard work.
It's hard work.
Just to put it out there because sometimes people want to know the story. It's why we're putting up the first hour of a lot of stuff in 4K 60 FPS.
Yep.
So that one, we can use it as a resource if we ever need footage. But two, people can see the first hour of a game. There's not really spoilers normally in the first hour.
Yeah.
What's Kenna Bridge of Spirits like? What's Deathloop like? So I went to watch the condensed, just the cinematics, so I could learn the story because that's how you learn the most of it. It's like 7 hours long, man.
Yeah.
It's more than The Hobbit.
I was speaking to. I'm gonna actually look him up.
So I don't know the story. Is my summary point.
1 second. I've been talking on Twitter with Arthur. Our boy, we've been talking about Death Stranding. We've been talking about cutscenes in general and stuff like that. And we spoke and was like, Kojima's the one that holds the title for the longest cutscene ever in a game.
How long?
An hour and 11 minutes. That's one cutscene in Metal Gear 4. At what point is it you've paused the game to watch a movie?
You're watching a movie. You're watching a movie. See, that's one of those things where it's like, in hindsight, it's kind of funny. If I'd been doing that, I would have stopped playing the game.
Yeah.
An hour and a half, that's like...
Bit much, right? Bit much.
I want to know how well that was received by the community.
Hey, if you ever want to talk Metal Gear, you just need to go to Josh Anderson. He's a massive
I may
Metal
actually
Gear fan.
ask Josh how that Metal Gear MGS4
How did
cutscene
you
is.
feel about that? How did you
it does the community view that as like, oh wow, can you like what a great breakup of action that we got this like mini movie, or is it like how I would feel? Frick this, I'm uninstalling.
Arthur messaged me over. He goes, "Our family said the longest one," and he goes, "The whole series." He goes, "It was unbearable." And
that's how I feel like it would be. Yeah.
And he goes, and here's the thing: it's not even skillfully done. There's no cool shots. There's no a great location or cool camera
it's just
work.
a trash CG movie.
No epic stunts. He goes, nothing which makes the aggressive explosion just painful to listen to, with characters recapping stuff you already know multiple times within the scene, like this game. Yeah,
okay, cool.
It seems bad. It seems bad.
Good to know.
Thank you, Arthur, for that, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so as I said, let me. There's a couple little topics left. One of them. So you know how we got that leak from Nvidia now?
Yeah.
Nvidia GeForce Now, and one of the games on there was
Final Fantasy 9.
Final Fantasy 9. Titanfall 3 was on there.
Yeah.
And we was like, we haven't even heard of a Titanfall 3.
No, we haven't. Also, Respawn's pretty busy leading one of the most popular battle royales out there.
Exactly.
Like top 3.
And probably working on Jedi Fallen Order 2.
Oh shit! Yeah. I totally forgot they made Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah.
They did.
Can they do any wrong? I didn't like Jedi Fallen Order, but it wasn't bad. I just didn't like Cal Kestis.
That's the thing. I mean, Titanfall 1 was a good multiplayer. Titanfall 2 was a good multiplayer. Had a good campaign as well.
Yes.
But again, crucially, it just wasn't really. It was like an exclusivity
then they made
deal.
Apex.
And they made Apex
and
as well.
They coined the ping system,
Exactly.
which now I think people are going to forget this. That ping system wasn't a thing until Apex.
They revolutionized.
They really did. It's small, but they did. Same with like the looting system in that game that I never talk about.
Recently, one of the developers shut down the rumor of a Titanfall 3.
Okay.
Saying that there's nothing there because they're very busy at the moment working on all other types of games they're working on. So, I only brought that up because then it brings into question again
to crush
the
my dreams of
validity
the Final Fantasy 9 remake.
of a Final Fantasy 9 remake.
Frick!
It's never going to happen, guys. Just throw it away.
I'm not going to lie, that's made me genuinely sad.
Yeah.
I was torturing myself with the idea that we might genuinely get it. God damn it.
More to say no. I just wanted to bring that up because that was a little bit of a development.
That's frustrating.
One final thing.
I'll be honest, I never expected to get Final Fantasy 9. It's a weird... I'm just going to quick Final Fantasy talk.
Yeah.
9 underperformed compared to the rest of them. They changed the genre. They went from like fantasy action to like steampunk. And it wasn't what people were expecting, and it kind of underperformed in terms of sales numbers. But it's one of the best stories.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Sounds like
so I have to be honest,
like all Final Fantasies,
right? Although it scratched the itch for me, I found it unbelievable because the natural response is you do 7 and then jump to 10.
Yeah. Oh, it's natural, yeah.
You miss out. There's no reason to do 8. There's no reason to do 6. There's no reason. Even though 9 is genuinely one of the best stories, it didn't perform very well.
Right.
So I gotta be honest, I was always kind of suspecting that it wasn't going to happen. But kind of learning that it really isn't happening hurts more than thinking it might not happen.
We'll see. There's always hope. And I recommend you, like Katie, keep hope for it. The way that Katie keeps hope for a Resident Evil 4 remake.
Didn't we get something for that?
No.
Oh, it was in what? It was in that leak, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in the leak, yeah. And
Get
Katie
fricked,
obviously again is like,
Katie.
yes!
No, well, that makes me feel a lot better. If I'm not getting FF9, she shouldn't get RE4. Get fricked.
And the final topic, it's a little thing. In the war between Apple and Epic Games, for you guys that don't know, the whole situation is that Epic Games is trying to fight Apple on their 30% cut that they have on revenue, and they also ban people from being able to circumvent their store so they can keep more of the cut. Epic did that on purpose so they would get noticed so they can get in a legal battle.
Yes.
And the legal battle is continuing to go. It's going to be years before this fucking thing ends. Yeah. However, Apple have essentially banned Fortnite from the iOS store until the end of this court hearing. They've written them an official letter to say, Epic Games, you cannot reinstate your creator account until this whole thing is done. And Todd Sweeney, Todd Sweeney, whichever one it is, he went on Twitter to publicly shame Apple, be like, "This is they've effectively banned us from the store until with this whole thing goes, which is probably going to be 5 years down the line." So that's what's happening with them.
What is the player base on Apple?
Probably a lot, because the thing is, you hear about all the time how mobile gaming is the biggest slice of the pie.
What?
And I'm like,
oh, for microtransactions and stuff, because these guys are idiots.
Exactly. And I'm like, I can believe it. However, those people aren't playing good games. They're playing filler crap filled with microtransactions.
Yeah, it's like, what's that? Candy Crush and shit like that.
Yeah, so they're not playing good games. Therefore, they're not in it for games. They're in it for that whatever satisfaction feeling from connecting 4 candies in a row. That's what they're there for. So it's more like a slot machine than anything else.
116 million players.
That's what I'm saying. I can believe that it's a lot.
There's 160 million idiots who are I'm going to play an FPS game or a 3PS game.
What it is the kid probably played Fortnite on a console, something like that. And then when they're out with mom and dad and whatnot, they're like, oh, kick in the seat. And they're like, fuck it, download Fortnite on your phone, on the dad's phone, on the sister's phone. So at any moment they can just shove a phone in the kid's face and then he can play Fortnite. That's the reason. And then that's why it adds up to 116 million people. Probably more, I'd say.
Yeah, they said it looks like 10% of the daily users are on iOS.
See, that's more. I think there's a ton of downloads and there's a lot of potential, but they're not all of them are playing, because who the fuck wants to play on a phone all day? Yeah,
it's much more significant than I thought. The real thing, and I'm learning this, I've learned this a lot, been reminded of it over the pandemic, that people are really stupid.
Yes.
And people that will play mobile games are even dumber.
Yes.
And the people that play mobile games on iPads and stuff, who's like, oh yeah, here, let's just play Fortnite. Go away.
Yeah, go away.
Stop.
Go away.
Stop it.
I do love it every time there's an Apple conference when they're talking about the new iPad and or the new phone. They're like,
and for gaming,
we have 40% faster graphical production in video games. We're like, no one cares.
No one cares.
I don't care. Just get out of the game. If you're not going to make a console, get out.
Also, I just think okay, you're out and about and you want to play a game. Why would you play Fortnite? Even if you had unlimited data, so you're not eating up your data, which most people don't, by the way. And unless it's 5G, it's not fast enough. Yeah. Why would you want to play that? Play a story. You can play The Witcher 3 on a Switch, wouldn't you? I would way rather play that than Fortnite on iPad. That's
why the xCloud that Xbox is working on is, in my opinion, the most significant thing they're working on.
The stuff they're talking about all last gen about how it'll be cloud processing.
That's the problem. They've been talking about cloud, all kinds of stuff for far too long. We haven't seen the fruits of that labor just yet. Yeah. So it's really annoying that it's been for that. But if they can crack it, if it can be good, playing amazing games on the go is where we should be heading. Not making more filler crap like we've mentioned before. Yeah. However, there is still the All right, the real estate is small. Our
It's not a lot.
controller's going to work okay.
There's no
for it.
feedback
It's
on
a
the
bit
screen.
tough.
Yeah,
It's a bit tough. And
Battery
latency
life.
is an issue as well.
latency. Yeah, there's a bunch of issues.
But that's hopefully we're ready. Bro,
Yeah,
that is everything we have to talk about here today on the True Gamer podcast. It was another good
Jaming
episode.
indeed.
I did. It's funny because the last episode where we did before we knew about God of War Ragnarok, that was his name or anything like that, we were like, let's have our theories of where it's going to go. I think that was one of our best episodes.
Yeah,
And I feel like we had another fucking fantastic conversation about God of War again. And I'm really happy about that. Really happy we got that.
I think I'm a little bit worried that the guys at home, those audio virgins listening,
Virgins.
are going to say, like, you guys talk about God of War too much. But it's a game that's super important to us. I think the games that we're interested in, most of them, like my top 3, moved the bar, like set the bar. And God of War is one of those ones that set the bar for storytelling. It set the bar for a lot of cinematic directing and cinematography in game telling. It set it for combat. It set it for how to reveal a game.
Yeah. That was a fucking great reveal.
So, it's important to us. So, like, yeah, I get, like, I do worry, but it's a super important game. It's one of the biggest and best games ever made. Not biggest in terms of, like, RDR2 is bigger, but it's nowhere near as good.
Yeah,
Obviously, everybody agrees on that.
Didn't.
So,
Pretty awful game, actually.
I hope everybody cares as much about the game, or at least hearing about our thoughts on the game. Not so much whether you care about the game, but what it means for the ecosphere. Because, for example, the Costa games has been a pretty contentious point.
Yeah.
We're in the minority, it seems, where we think if it's good enough, that it's worth the money, and also the price of games hasn't moved in 10 years or something. Like, it's kind of about time. But that now the question becomes, well, how much are we going to expect for 70? Because FIFA's going to frick you over. EA is going to do you over for as much as possible. But if they're going to give us 2 God of War games for 70, that's a steal. If someone told me the only way to replay God of War 4 was you got to buy it brand new for the PS5, even without the thing, without the PS5 upgrade, I still think it's worth it. How do you feel about this? When was the last time you played God of War 4?
Last year.
Oh, that's right, you did it on stream, didn't you?
Was it last year or was it this year?
It was within the last 12 months, let's say.
Yeah.
I am desperate to play it, but I'm not going to play it until I get my PS5 upgrade.
I think you're if they don't do a PS5 upgrade, it will make the satisfaction of the controls and the PS5 upgrades so much more sweeter if you do wait. That's the thing. It's torturous, but if you do it, it will work.
Also, like, a little bit of me thinks they're going to do what you said, which was they won't release the update until after God of War 5, which means that I'm going to I'm going to be craving God of War, and then they'll give me 5 and I'll get the full haptic feedback.
Yeah.
I want to experience the game with that so bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, God of War, we're excited.
Yeah, very excited. And I hope you guys are as well.
But this will be the last we mention, unless something major comes out, which I doubt.
Tune in again next week for the God of War cast.
That's right.
It's going to be a whole new show.
That's a great title.
It's straight to the point. You know exactly what you're getting.
Right.
You know exactly what you're getting. But anyway, seriously though, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in for another episode of the True Game Podcast. It's great that you support us each and every week, coming here all the time, talking games with us.
That's right.
We love doing it, and we love talking with you guys. Can't wait to see you guys again next week.
That's right.
Remember, we have the True Gamer Plus episode coming up this weekend, and another one the next weekend afterwards, just because I was ill the last weekend, so I couldn't produce it. So that's going to be coming.
And another reminder, right at the end of the podcast, which is the ideal place, EGX will be doing, it's the Saturday.
Yes, the 9th of October.
9th of
We'll
October.
be there, we'll be playing games with you guys, hanging out, doing a little bit of recording and stuff like that. And then afterwards, we'll go outside of the convention center, we'll get some food, we'll hang out, we'll sign your tits, whatever you want. Everything.
We should buy some Sharpies.
We should.
I expect to sign many tits.
Yes, many boobs, many boobs. It's like one
Many
of the guys
man
will be like,
boobs.
I've been holding on to these milkers for 16 years, my whole life, just so I could.
Jesus Christ. God damn.
All right, guys. I'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, and bro, I'll catch you in the next one.
We need to get a better a different setup for these mics.
What we need to do is get these microphones to just float in front of us.
That's what we need. We need floating mics.
And then someone will Photoshop something else there.
Of course.
And then
That's
it's
half
just-
the fun. Yeah, no one's photoshopping that.
Do you know what? I did a masturbation thing on the podcast one time, and because our podcast is so good, high quality.
Yeah.
And because my is like right here.
Yeah.
Someone cut it out, and it's just everyone knows exactly who that is, where they can find me, and it's in crisp 1080p. And it's like, God damn it!
This is the view of myself I want on the internet.
That's it. That's it right there.
All right, bro. Let's
Catch
go
you later.